All right, it is the Thursday night forum. Thanks for being here. The few that are in the chat right now, really appreciate it. Um, of course, welcome Gary and welcome Tony.
Hello, hello, hello. Oops. When it starts skinny like this, I can't move too much or else I'll be off the
Let me
screen.
see if I can change the format.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
There
I
we
just...
There we go. Widescreen. We like that a little bit better. We might have a few more people joining us, so settle in. As I say, Arsenal Fan Circle Airways is ready for takeoff, and we're cleared for takeoff. Gary, it feels like the end of something and the start of something here, from Wembley to Easter Road and beyond.
Yeah, it went really fast, right? Like I said, thought we had enough time. Thought we had a big window, right? All right, let's see. Euros are over, and Arsenal come after a little while. Nope, not at all. It was only not even a week ago, right? Or was it a week? Yeah, it was not even a week ago. Was
Sunday.
it? Yeah,
4
on
days.
Sunday. Yeah. So yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's good though. It's what we wanted, man.
We're going
want
to
to see what's next.
We're going to get into a lot of things. Tony, thanks for joining, Tony.
Yep.
Oh, look at that! Look who joined it.
And
you battled the seagulls on the way to work, and
yeah, Jesus Christ, they're out there. I'm ready for them.
You carry a bat around, get the shit out of them.
Good to see you assembled here. But quick, you gotta read his stuff before he quickly deletes every message.
Why does he do that? Well, I don't get that.
Well, we have a thing going on. I think it's a fun thing. It's a little bit different, so we always welcome that. Assembled, great to have you here, and he always brings great questions from me. Good evening, panel and chat room.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sam, welcome. You're going to stay only a little bit.
I'll see how long I last. I'm pretty tired tonight, but yeah, I'll be on for a little while anyway. And there's the seagulls. Hello, how are you doing?
There's the seagulls.
You're gonna have to do a show with a seagull on your on your perch or on your shoulder or something.
On my shoulder there.
Go out to the patio.
Joining Star Wars.
I don't believe they're seagulls. I just believe they're just like you just got that's your music. You like this. You like the sound of seagulls. As opposed to the sound of music. You like
flock of seagulls.
It's really his bats flying around, but he plays seagull noises over the bat.
Yeah, I've got all these seagull noises on my stereo going all the time. That's what it is. I just love seagull noises.
James Fernandez, hello lads. Hope you're all well. Had any friends?
My bet is this James Fernandez is a troll, and he's going to be spouting out crap about our Hibernian result and about me in a few seconds.
Look,
I think
James is our resident Spurs fan, and he has been on the channel many times.
Okay, it's just I got some trolls after me at the moment, so
that's okay. Trolls going to be trolls, right?
Yeah.
What's worse, trolls or seagulls?
Good question.
You don't have to duck if they're up high, right?
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So listen, James, he's our resident Spurs fan. He will troll us about results and friendlies.
Oh, that's fair enough. If you know who he is and he's a Spurs fan, that's okay. I mean, we welcome everyone, don't we?
We're all inclusive.
That we are.
You want to talk about what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the Hyperion game?
Yeah, what are we talking about, Ray? This is your show. What are we talking about?
You just went quiet on us. Can you hear us?
You just started with the Euros.
Maybe
I was sorry. I was just getting my shopping order. There was one other item. The missus is kindly going shopping to get.
Do you remember ice cream?
Supplies. No ice cream. No ice cream.
No ice cream.
It was Belvita. It was those breakfast biscuits that you have to have with your tea. I like to have a cup of tea. So yeah, James, good to see you here. Listen, we'll get into that friendly. We'll talk about Hibernian as well. Arsenal are wonderful, aren't they? The improvement on last season is immense. We have to keep everything in balance, the assembled. It was just the first game. Don't get excited. It was the first game of the preseason.
It was the kid's fault, Ray.
Tony,
Remember,
It was not the kid's fault.
that's what
No,
our tennis said.
no.
listen.
That's what our
No.
tennis said.
I will not. You know what? Initially, I actually was going to blame the kids because I thought it was a combination of our buddy Clark.
Well, there's
and
only two
Clark.
of them in the starting lineup.
No, but you know what? Nah. Guess who? It was our famous right back, left back.
All right, I'm going to put a question. I'm going to put a question to the 7 people watching here. Let us know who you think which one of us was losing our shit the most because of that preseason result. Was it me? Was it Gary? Was it Tony? Or was it Sam? I want answers in the chat box there.
With your emphasis on our names, you know who it was.
Was it Tony? Was it Sam? Was it Tony? Was it Gary? Was it Tony?
Or was it Tony?
Or
Ray?
Tony?
Or was it Tony?
Or
It was
all
Tiny.
the Tonys?
Tiny.
Tiny.
It was Tiny Tony. Listen, Sam, we'll start off with you. The Euro 2020 final, we can take it from the start. You go 5 at the back or 3 at the back. To me, I think it can be mostly offensive or it can be a defensive formation. And the first 10, 15, 20 minutes when England were on the front foot, it was quite an offensive, quite an attacking lineup. And, England jumped out and got that goal through Shaw.
Yeah, I thought the lineup was a bit of a surprise. I initially thought, he might be doing something here that might not be working. I was a bit surprised by it, using Trippier and not just going with what had been working very well in the previous games. But it actually worked to start off with. It worked very well. We used, I wouldn't say it was a defensive formation. For me, it was it was a 3 at the back. We were using 2 wing backs basically as wingers. And they were working really well. Shaw down the left, the Trippier down the right. And the goal after 2 minutes was Trippier from the right crossing over to Shaw on the left. So on the overload on the left side, which was working really well those first 10, 15 minutes. And Italy, what Italy don't like, and this is what was highlighted before the game as well in all the analysis, and you see them through the tournament. What they don't like is they don't like being pressed high up the pitch. They don't like being pressed in their defence. That's when they start making the mistakes, and that's when you can win the ball high up on the field and gain an advantage. And that's what we started off doing very well the first 10, 15 minutes. But then something strange happened. I don't know whether it was tactically from Southgate, he asked the team to start sitting deep and soak up pressure, or whether it's the players just slightly going off of the ball, maybe like maybe pressure wise or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of both.
Psychologically, maybe you.
But what happened was all of a sudden we started sitting back after about the 15, 20 minute mark. About that, we started sitting back, and that didn't work because that invited Italy to come at us, and that's what they're best at. When they have possession, when they get to roll the ball and go into attack, that's when they become dangerous. And I thought it was really strange of us to just go away from the tactic that was working and then let them come in and attack us like that. And we just knew as the game went on and the second half started very much the same way. But yeah, basically we let them back into the game. But the start was very good. I thought the formation worked very well to start off with, and I thought it was very strange he didn't keep on with that. I thought him substituting Trippier and just going all weird with Henderson and all that just didn't work. But yeah, we can talk more about that. But
we've got plenty of time to get. But
I thought the start was very well, and I don't think it was a negative formation. I thought it was actually a pretty good combination of being able to be tight at the back but attack with wing backs. We basically used the wing backs as wingers, and I thought it looked like a very good tactic to start off with, and it did work. The first 2 minutes we were 1-0 up, and we should have pushed on really and tried to get another goal. We had them on the ropes for 10, 15 minutes, but we just didn't capitalize, and then we started sitting back. But
listen, as Norma said, looks like Juventus is having a meeting with Sassuolo. over Locatelli, and most likely can't meet Sassuolo's demand. Arsenal might just come in clutch and sign Locatelli. Would be a huge signing. Norma, I have huge doubts if we got him, if he would settle. Italians certainly have issues, I think, settling. But also, I do think we have to accept that Juventus are in the driver's seat within his own nation of Italy. Juventus would be a huge club for the player to go to. So things would have to break down hugely.
They don't have much money, Ray.
Who doesn't?
Juventus, they're struggling.
Yeah. Well, listen, I just wanted to address the comment.
Yeah, sure.
It would be huge. I know, Sam, you said that.
I remember as soon as was it game 2 in the group stage, and I was looking at Locatelli and I was saying, "Wow, this guy is a baller." And that pass, he had one of the probably the top 5 passes I've ever seen in my life in a live football game on television. That one touch pass he had that went cross field, like on the button, that created their goal. With Berardi then going forward, that crossfield one touch, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It was absolutely amazing, and the way he pings that ball around, he's a really good midfielder. And if we could get him, it would be a huge signing. It would be a huge improvement to our midfield. But like you say, Ray, we would have to see if he could settle in and how he would fit into the Premier League. Because as we know, the Premier League is she's a fickle beast. That Premier League, I mean, she spits and she chews up and spits out many players, and so it's going to be interesting to see if he can hack it.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Gary next. Then James said, "Well, I can tell you, this being a Spurs fan, I handle a loss a lot better than the English fans around me. Is that because you had more practice, James?" Well, couldn't resist. Life. Listen, he's willing to dish.
They both have empty trophy
rooms,
right?
It's true. The England Spurs cabinet are the same, aren't they?
James is a good egg, I can tell. Gary and I, we remember that 3-3 with West Ham early last season, and James was having trouble dealing with that. We actually didn't. We stopped laughing so much, Gary, right, at that point in time. Samuel said, Italy know how to win. England had one shot on target, and that was the goal. Gary, Italy unbeaten now in 34 games. They've won the Euros, obviously. A team that are able to deal with going 1-0 down.
Well, it's easy to go 1-0 down if England's going to play. If a team's going to play you like that. I mean, I think that's more the case. It isn't that they went 1 down; it's that they went 1 down, and they were still putting the pressure on. Right, England was still putting the pressure on. They couldn't get out of their defensive third. They were screaming at each other. It was if you had a game plan in mind, it was perfect. It was set up perfectly. Right, you put all the pressure on them. No pressure on your back line. You're like enjoying life. You should take advantage of it. They did. They got the goal. Obviously, they needed 2. But they got the goal, and at some point, though, the light bulb has to go on that this can't go on, right? This is not going to last. This isn't a team lower in the rankings of the world rankings of football. At some point, they're going to figure you out if you don't change, right? And one of the key items that England had going for them is that they had a stronger bench. They were deep. They could put new players in there, and they could put more pressure on them with fresher legs and maybe finish off this match.
Yeah.
So, all right, it didn't work for you only got the 1 goal for 45 minutes, but you know what? You've got another 45 minutes with 5 players that you could probably put in there, put pressure on them, and maybe finish this thing off.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Also, you're getting scared. Italy is getting comfortable. You don't want a team that's getting comfortable, especially a team. You don't want any team getting comfortable playing against you.
Italy
was not. They were a surprise pick, but nothing they did surprised many. Right? It was essentially France, Belgium, and then Italy as far as the 3 teams that you could pick that if they won, nobody would probably bat an eye. Italy was going to be a surprise pick, of course, but They had the experience, right? They have some young talent, right? We're talking about Locatelli. He came off the bench, right? And we're talking about he comes to Arsenal. He's a starter for us, right? So it's
Our midfield is pretty light.
yeah, they had the players. So and as you saw, as we're doing a watch along, you see people start posting about Croatia and all of this, and it's like, oh boy. So so all the England fans had seen this before. They kind of knew what was going to happen, what could happen, and it happened. I mean, it was like Southgate looked at the script for, I guess, the Croatia match and figured out, you know what, I'm going to do a Croatia too, and basically that's how it worked out. It didn't work, the results were the same, right? It was basically England lost, right? But
Yeah.
now I think they lost the match probably they lost this game in the first half when they couldn't take it, when they had all the momentum on their side. And then early in the second half, when they probably could have changed things up a little bit there too, they had the deeper bench. They should have went to it. They should have brought in. I mean, if we're talking about it, they brought in Saka, which was that was good, but he needed somebody else with some fresh legs as well to come in there and change the pace. Like the first time Saka came into a game for England, right? He came in with Grealish, I believe. They came in together, and you just could see the energy in the team just picked up immediately. What did England need to do in this game? They needed to pick up the energy because Italy the train was moving. It was getting faster. It was going downhill.
Mhm.
And it was just, at some point you knew they were going to score because England could not stop them.
Yeah.
And they couldn't.
Possession based.
The goal definitely changed the perspective on the game, but that never happened. So, yeah, I believe that early goal actually turned out to be a negative because it kind of gave Southgate a little bit of confidence that what he did was going to work. But I don't think anybody in their right mind thought they could do that for 90 minutes.
No.
They could hold them score. Like if they had scored in the like if it was a 0-0 draw at halftime and they scored early in the second half, then maybe then it worked. But the way the game was going, eventually you're going to have to change your plans because holding on to a 1-0 lead was just not going to work, and it kind of worked out that way.
When you get the opportunity, you take that goal. It was in the second minute. Italian heads were spinning, Tony. As Darren said here, just some lighthearted banter. Poor Kane, still no trophy for him. For Spurs or England, no offense intended. And but Tony, what you do when you're in a tough spot like Italy were, you try to diffuse the game, you try to slow it down, you try to turn the tide in your direction, and I thought that's what Italy gradually were able to do, take the steam out of the game.
Yeah, the first 30 minutes to me, England was rolling, and they just kind of took a foot off the gas, kind of relaxed. Let Italy build up their confidence. I think for me is easy for Italy since the last year they've tried 60 different players, so they kind of can punch in whoever they want to and fit the system, and they know what to do and go out there and do. I think what killed England was Laporte's substitutions, kind of like Arteta always does with us. Southgate made the same errors there.
Yeah. Gary, in the semi-final, no, sorry, Tony, I'll stay with you. Sorry, Gary. In the semi-final, Tony, England were able to switch up their team so much in the semi-final. In the second half against Denmark, they just tired Denmark out and, battered them into submission, really. He didn't do that in this game against Italy in the second half.
Yeah, with how much youth they have, he should have did it again, bring in the fresh young legs, run them to death, wear them out, put a knife to their throats, and go out there and get the win.
Do you remember the Assemble said when England went 2-0 up against Portugal, the Euros, only for England to lose 3-2, Sam? So, we all saw what was coming. You knew something was. The England team were creaking, and midway through the second half, I think 68th minute, Italy got the goal.
You're talking to me now?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Did
yeah.
you hear
it
you
was,
over the seagull?
well, sometimes you just don't know. He's going off. He's talking about the game.
I'm even going clockwise to make it easier for.
Right. Okay. So. Okay.
I'm
So
gonna
it's
ask myself. I get the next question. I'm going to ask myself the next question.
you ask yourself the next question. So, yeah. No, I mean, I think Gary and Tony have covered the bases quite well here. We sat England sitting low and inviting the pressure was completely the wrong way to go. That's exactly playing into Italy's hands. It was just a matter of time because they're that good. They've got that much talent in their team that you just know if you keep giving them chances, if you keep letting them play, they are going to score. I thought it was if it was a tactic to try and sit back and sit on the lead for the rest of the game. It wasn't going to work. And Tony's right, and Gary's right
What
as
did
well.
the seagulls say there?
I don't know. I can go and ask him in a minute, but
I agree.
they definitely agree with me. They know that. So anyway, so you're right. Like we said, the weakness in Italy was their defense. Being quite old and slower, and they were tired towards the end of the game. And us not putting in that speed and that youth at the end there. Yes, bringing on Saka was good, but then as Gary said, we didn't supplement that with anything else. We brought on Henderson, which was just a complete waste of time. We'd subbed him off again later. And Sancho and you got lots of Sancho and Rashford with their speed and their ability not coming on, and also Grealish. I mean, those three players should be coming on together with Saka for the last 20, 30 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. That's what you do. It's the final of the Euros. It's not like the third last game of a normal regular Premier League season or something like that. This is you go hell for leather. You should try and win that game. I think everyone would have respected Southgate if he would have gambled and gone for a real attacking last 20 minutes with the younger, quicker players, going for a real quick front line, going at them. And if they would have got us on the counter attack and beat us on the counter attack, I think Southgate would have gained more respect or at least more understanding that way for trying. Then what we just did was basically not trying. We just sat back and let them beat us. To me, that's just completely off. So yeah, I was disappointed in that, and we should have used the substitutions for sure. And yeah, Italy scored. When they scored, we knew they would either score again or they have the advantage for the rest of the game. And I actually thought they might actually win the game within regular time, which they didn't. And then of course we went on to extra time and the rest. Yeah.
Samuel said Italy never panicked throughout the entire game. That was key. And, going 30-plus games unbeaten gives you that confidence, gives you that belief in yourself that if you keep it within one goal, you're always going to have one chance or a couple of chances to get something. England panicked instead of playing their game, even though they were leading. Gary, before we get into the final stages of the Euro 2020 and what happened on that dreaded penalty shootout, what in your opinion does England need to do to be, go another step further in the next tournament, in the World Cup?
Well, Southgate's going to have to trust his players. I mean, this is, as Arsenal fans, I think we feel like Arteta doesn't trust his players, and the same thing could be said about Southgate. I mean, he didn't trust his players. I mean, if you've got a healthy Grealish on your team, he might be starting no matter who else you have on the team, right? For England, no, he sits, right? Sancho has been teams have been trying to get him for like the last year and a half, right? It's not because they just like to spend money. It's because they see the talent in him, and they want that on their team. He got how many minutes? I think it was 45 or something ridiculous. They said, right? No, maybe Saka sits, but I just feel like you have so much talent, you got to use it. You got to use it, and you got to trust it, right? I mean, that's the part that I think needs to happen. He's going to have to trust his players because the senior players are getting older, right? Who's to say that the player, they're going to have the same team going into the World Cup, right? A lot of these players are getting older, and
18
every
months.
day, 18 months. But 6 months from now,
16
some of
months,
those
right?
those are 6 months from now.
Looks
Those
like
older players,
16.
they might not be in the right form to play. I mean, I was listening to somebody today talk about, typically you go with the players that are in form before the tournament, and Willock would be, a prime candidate of a player that was in form at the end of the season that you could potentially take and bring on because of the form that he was in. Maybe it was a little, as I say, what purple patch. It wasn't all it meant to be, but you really want players that are hot going in sometimes. But I think, like I said, I think Southgate needs to trust all of his players. I mean, Grealish getting the minutes he got is, I think, to me, unacceptable. Unacceptable, right? I mean, the combo of Grealish and Saka worked so well. I would have liked to see that more times. Good.
So all the rest of us are going to just mess around with is it Alexa now? We can
Alexa is she's not listening.
Alexa's horny. You got to give it to her, Gary.
Hey, listen.
Good thing my wife can't hear what you just said.
Let me bring in Stan, who has just joined us. Stan the man, thanks for joining. How you doing?
All right, everyone.
Hello.
I'm missing. I want to see Stan from the helicopter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just don't want to. I don't. No. You're gonna have to. You know what? Go away. Get back in the helicopter and let's try it again.
He's having a coffee at the
Where's
gate
Maverick?
right now. He's having a coffee at the gate.
Maverick's having coffee.
James said, normally I'd be buzzing for the new season start, especially after the England loss, but how excited are you guys? Our clubs are such a mess. He's a Tottenham fan. Our resident Arsenal's fan circle Tottenham fan here, so he's all right. At least you have trophies. Stan, at least we have FA Cups.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into a panic about what we're doing in the transfer window until the door shuts. I mean, obviously, I do like to read some of the gossip of who we're signed with. It seems to be we're signed with anybody and everybody. But I'm not going to make a judgment or pass judgment until I know that we can't actually bring anybody else in. Because sometimes things do happen at the last minute, The Mesut Ozil deal, I knew nothing about that when that happened. That sort of like just appeared sort of like out of nowhere. There weren't even any links, was there? So you never know. I know that people get a little bit anxious, but, there is still time and things can happen right up until the last minute. Obviously, it's nice to get people in early for preparation, but maybe a deal can't get done at the last moment because somebody you want, they're waiting to bring someone in to replace them and they're dragging their heels. It's a chain reaction sometimes. Sometimes dominoes have to fall.
Yeah, and maybe we have to sell to buy. That dreaded term, sell to buy. The Assemble said key to the penalties was England tried to get Sancho and Rashford on the pitch for 5 minutes. England didn't press the ball. Italy held onto the ball. That's why they got on so late. I'm going to go to Tony, and then we're in the right rotation. And Tony, I'll ask you the same question, and I'll ask Sam and Stan the same question as well. What do you think England need to do to be better next year in the World Cup?
Change the manager?
Yeah, I mean, that is a question I have for everyone as well. It was going to be my next round of questions, but I'll tack that in. Do you think England should stick with Southgate? You obviously don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right. Should I move on to Sam, or have you got more?
Move on to Sam. Or Seagulls are interrupting.
Sam, should England stick with Southgate? It's a tricky wicket. It's a sticky wicket. That's what
it is, isn't it? Because it is, isn't it? Because he's done very well, really. I mean, you have to say, up until that final, I mean, things looked pretty good, didn't they? And he proved a lot of people wrong. I think he changed a lot of people's minds. But unfortunately, he made some mistakes again in the final, and then the doubts start creeping in again because you start thinking, is he the manager we need to actually get us over the finish line, because I don't think there's any doubt now, really. Even we're England fans. Well, most of us are England fans here, I suppose. Oh no, actually, it's probably just me and Stan, isn't it? Really. And yeah, Gary, yeah, you're an England fan as well. Yeah, good on you. Anyway, but yeah,
my birthplace. Come on.
Yeah, that's true, Gary. It's true. That's
Thanks, James. We'll see you later.
So big up, James. See you later, mate. So even objectively now, more and more people are saying how good England are. You could see it in the Euros with the team we have. We had a very, very strong bench. With the depth we have in our squad. The players we can bring in the last 20, 30 minutes. We have a lot of tools. We have a lot of weapons there. And I think objectively there are not many teams you could say, if any, are better than England. I mean, objectively. So we have a good chance. We have the best chance ever now, I think, of actually doing something at the World Cup, maybe getting to the final again, or maybe even winning it. But with Southgate, it's that question, is he the manager that can actually get us over the finishing line? Yes, he could probably get us to a final again, but what's he going to do at the final again? What's going to happen? Is he going to learn from this? Because he had the World Cup in 2018 that he obviously hasn't completely learned from. So you got to ask this question. But then at the same time, when you're changing a manager now, just before the next World Cup, which is only 16 months away, as Tony says, it's a gamble. It's a huge gamble to come in and try and because the new manager, inevitably, he's going to bring in some kind of new thought process, some kind of new philosophy, maybe some change tactically or whatever. And right now, I think tactically, apart from what we were doing, sitting deep against Italy, I think tactically, you saw in all the games up until the final, we were looking very good and playing very well. So, I think it's too much of a gamble to change Southgate now. I think we just need to hope that he learns from this, and he's not gonna. If he gets to the final again, he's not gonna shit the bed, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stan. I liken him a lot to Arteta. There is that cautious streak with Southgate. 2 questions then, Stan. What does England need to be better next time around? I mean, personally, I think their midfield needs to improve. They need to be able to break the lines easier. They've got a lot around them in terms of going forward and defensively. And should England stick with Southgate for this next tournament? I think you're on mute there, mate.
Yeah, I had police sirens going by, so I thought I'd quieten myself because looking at some of the lineups that he put out before the games actually started, I was like, wow, that's a bit sort of surprising. And you can see that he's quite cautious in the way that he chooses to put his teams out. But even I look at the lineups and what's available, in my mind, I would probably do it differently. I think he's proven himself. I think, hasn't he won the World Cup at lower levels with younger age brackets? Like, did he win the World Cup with the 17s or something, or whatever?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think he has won things with like younger levels, and he got us to the final. I mean, we've tried a route with England of bringing in someone like a Fabio Capello, right? A foreign person with different kind of ideas. We've tried it with Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Yep.
So, we have tried these things, and none of them are able to get us to a final. Gareth Southgate, he got us to a final, and no one's done that since Alf Ramsey back in 1966. So if you're going to bring someone in, it's got to be someone in who's going to come in and win it. And there's no guarantees. I think, as Sam said, because of the World Cup being so close now, why would you want to disrupt the obvious harmony that you have? Perhaps this has been a good learning curve for Gareth Southgate, and he may make his approach a little bit differently in the next tournament. So I would say I think he's earned the right to have another crack.
Stan, do you think Trent Alexander-Arnold would have improved the England team drastically? I personally don't think so, but I'm going to throw it out to everyone.
Well, I don't know if I would say, drastically. It all depends about as well how the manager wants to play. Does he want wing backs that bomb forward, or does he want wing backs which are more defensively minded, or for whatever reasons? But going on to the controversy with the penalties, as I understand it, hearing an interview of Gareth Southgate, because initially I was like, why are players like Grealish and Sterling not standing up and leaving this young boy to take the 5th penalty? But as I understand it, Grealish wanted to take a penalty, but Gareth Southgate made the decision that he would go to Saka and offer it to him. Personally, I think it as a manager, as a tactical decision, I wouldn't have left the 5th penalty, because the 5th penalty could be so decisive, right? I think Harry Kane should be taking the 1st or the 5th penalty, either one of those. Because you want the 1st penalty, you want to get the ball rolling, you want to get off to a good start. Or if you're on that 5th and you've let one in already, and you need to sort of like get neck and neck, you want someone that's confident and is going to be able to do that. And I feel quite sorry for Bukayo Saka. When I saw him walking out, I was just like, oh, okay, this is going to end in one of two ways, Yeah. And unfortunately, it wasn't in a blaze of glory, which is what I was hoping for.
No.
And the abuse that he's got as well, it's left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I'm so glad to see as well, on the other side of the coin, how many people have come out in support of the 3 lads that, missed their penalties. So going full circle, I'd like to see much of the same team in the World Cup. It's obviously got a good bond. And I think I'd like to see Gareth Southgate, and perhaps, let's hope that Gareth Southgate has learned from this.
Yeah, valuable lessons to be learned. I'm likening Southgate, Gary, a lot to Arteta. And Arteta has a lot to learn as well. And we're going to get into what happened in Easter Road as well. But let's finish up on these penalties. And I think we need to hone in on Bukayo Saka, our boy. Great player. He carried Arsenal through a very tough season. He was so cool, calm, and collected that Southgate was probably tricked or fooled into thinking that Saka could handle that kind of pressure. I think neutral people that have seen the game, Gary, told me he did look like the weight of the world was on him when he stepped up to take that penalty. Now, precursor to that is you got Donnarumma, a great goalkeeper. He even psyched Rashford into pushing the shot onto the upright. So Saka's there looking at the Jadon Sancho and Rashford missing, and he's thinking there's a lot more pressure on him. It is the 5th penalty. We can debate. I agree with Stan. I don't think Saka should have been put in that position. But maybe it's a testament as well to how cool, calm, and collected this player, this 19-year-old kid, is, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't going to say no, and you never say no, right? So that was not, if he got offered the spot, he takes it, right? Because the last thing you want, you don't want to second guess, because you're going to take that shot. That's what you're in the game for. When it comes down to it, you want to take that shot if it's been offered to you. But yet, I don't believe he should have been offered that. I think Sterling, who I believe was having actually a good tournament, right? He's been playing pretty well, and I think Grealish to me would have been my choices. Some players that either leading their team or having a really good tournament all around probably need to go in there. And maybe Southgate sensed that they just weren't. They weren't prepared to take that shot, which is, that's telling in itself if that's what happened there.
Seasoned internationals, seasoned players with their club teams, Gary.
Yeah. I mean, before I continue with the penalty kicks, I also think it was a game of what ifs, right? What if Saka is able to draw the red when he gets clotheslined? What if the 2 holds on Sterling? I can't believe the 2 holds on Sterling weren't even looked at. I could get if it was just 1, but 2 holds in the box. I know they didn't really change much, but I feel like if it was the other way around, that would have been a PK for Italy, no doubt. I believe. So I think his reputation is the reason why that those weren't even looked at. But I kind of feel like those are pretty blatant. They definitely benefited one team. if you can do that. So I kind of feel like there were some what-ifs in the game, but I think you also create your opportunities, and England didn't create enough as a team, and so that's another thing. But yeah, the when it gets to the penalty kicks, I mean, all bets are off, and then you have to look at the fact that which goalkeeper do you not want to go against, right? The big monster, basically,
Yeah.
who covers the whole. He's probably like touching both posts.
Sounds like a Godzilla character. Donnarumma.
So at that point you're like, all right, well, we're gonna have to be perfect, and that's when we've had these discussions before. It's like, where do you put the ball? And 9 times out of 10, if you're putting the ball in one of the corners up high, nobody's getting to it, right? That's kind of been that's what I've heard multiple times, and a lot of the goals that went in where the goalkeeper didn't even have a chance. That's where they're going. You got to be really good to keep it on the ground and get it in there, and you have to put your foot through the ball. I mean, I don't think some of the shots. I mean, this is on both sides where the ball was. They actually they try to put the ball through the back of the net. You know what I mean? With some velocity. At this point, that's what needed to happen. You can't give the goalkeeper a thought. If he guesses right. So I think at that point you needed to just be confident in where you're going with it and just put it right there, right? For England, I think that they were a little hesitant. Italy just makes it, Jorginho comes up, you figure it's done, right? And he misses, and you're like, I think that was probably that was worse than, you're up 1 and he ties it up and all you have to do is win it, right? The fact that, it's over, right? He's coming up, he's taking a shot, it's over. It's over, basically, right? That's what a lot of people are thinking. And the fact that it didn't, that changes the emotions. And now all of a sudden you go from, well, we could, you go from maybe thinking you could win it to now I got to hold on to win this thing now. So I think the emotions up and down, and those last 3 shots from both teams, it was basically a roller coaster. And I would have liked to have seen, maybe, some of the senior players kick it, but it was a tough to see, and you never want it to go to PKs anyways, right? Because it comes out this way, and
they say
second guess everything.
It's a lottery. They say it's a lottery, but it is an art as well. And I think there's been stats bandied around that all of those Italian players in the league have taken a lot of penalties, and English players not a lot apart from.
It's in your head, and you got to be confident about it. I mean, you got to go up there and know where you're going to go with it and put it away no matter what. It's one of those things where it doesn't matter if the goalkeeper knows where I'm going. That's at least to me, that's what the mindset's got to be. It doesn't matter if he picks right. I'm still scoring. All right, so it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to go ahead and just boot it.
And I do remember David Seaman famously saying you have to pick a side and you just have to go with it. And Donnarumma, did that. Rohan, thanks for joining us. Do you guys remember any Arsenal player having a bigger role for England than Saka? Absolutely not. Not in the last 10, 15 years. We haven't had many internationals in the England team. And now we're getting back to that. It's a blessing, and it can be a blessing and it can be a curse as well. Ryan, Italy wanted to win the game. England hired to win the game. That was the difference. Definitely. Tony, there's a lot of criticism about players. Sterling, Shaw, who else? Grealish, of course. I think Stan had said that he wanted to take the penalty. So, this was Southgate's choice, but a lot of players that have more seniority than Saka. But I suppose we can say, as we said already, the responsibility of the player that we have on our books, the Arsenal player, taking on that responsibility speaks volumes for him.
Yeah, to me, it's even more pressure because everybody seems to ignore the fact that England missed 2 straight penalties before him. He missed his, making it 3, which I can't ever remember in any penalty shootout a team missing 3 in a row like that. But to me, he had too much pressure to begin with. He shouldn't have been put in the role, but he was. He went up there. He tried. I like Arsenal's message to him right after the game. I thought that was a good touch, saying how much pride and everything they said in their comment.
Yeah, Tony, we even have to call out the Tottenham, the PR Tottenham juggernaut. They had a nice touch as well, in solidarity with Saka missing the penalty. Sam, it really is a coin toss when it comes to the penalties, as Rohan says. Penalties are a coin toss. Biggest was Rashford's miss, and I was super confident about him scoring. The tail of the penalties, Sam, it always seems to be the team. It looks like they're going to go ahead and do it. There's a huge swing usually in penalty kicks, and it goes the other way. I've noticed that time after time, and I think England's history 2 for 7, and Italy have a 5 for 5 record in penalty kicks.
5 for 5 record in penalty kicks. What are you talking about?
In tournaments, in tournament play.
In recent years or?
They've prevailed 5 times out of 5. England have prevailed 2 times out of 7.
They lost. Italy lost the final. They lost on penalties in America in '94.
All right.
So I wouldn't trust your sources there, right?
Well, it's not going back 50 years.
Don't you remember Baggio? I mean, the huge miss from Roberto Baggio in '94 against Brazil.
27 years ago.
We're young, aren't we? We're young. Anyway, yeah. And I mean, England. We've got a terrible history of penalties, haven't we? Even though we've sort of become a little bit better lately. Also, apologise about the seagulls. I don't know why they're going crazy now, but anyway, I'm just try and go for. I can't close the door because if I close the door, it just gets too hot in here. It just becomes a nightmare. So, anyway, we're really hot here at the moment, by the way. Anyway, yeah, I mean, we've become really a lot better lately for penalties. We've won a couple, haven't we, in recent tournaments in earlier stages, which is an improvement. But as soon as we get to this type of a final when it really counts, and this. You don't bet on England, do you? I mean, we just lost too many times. You just don't bet on England. You don't feel confident. No. And I'll tell you what, when Italy Italy missed that first penalty, I thought, wow, is this going to be England? This is going to finally be England's time. And then when Rashford hit the post, I thought, that's it. I just knew when Rashford hit the post, I just knew that's it. It's over. Anyway, yeah. So England and penalties, no, it's not good, is it? So we need to work a lot on that, I think, for the World Cup, because the way international football is now, even in the knockout stages, teams will attack more and try and go for it more. But there are a lot of games that go to penalties, in the big tournaments, and so penalties is actually something you really do need to prepare for, and that's what we need to prepare for better going into the World Cup, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, you're quicker than Ollie on the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So on the report
from Family Guy.
Oh. So Stan, Southgate having missed that penalty, as we know, back when he was playing, he would have known it would have been the highest high for Saka, but the lowest low. But the recent press release from Saka, it demonstrates a huge maturity from the kid. 19 years old, the world is at his feet, and you're going to have moments like this, but it's how you bounce back that's going to determine your success in years to come. And I, for one, have no doubt that he's going to bounce back. How do you feel about it, Stan?
Well, it's all gone full circle, really, for Gareth Southgate. The penalty miss in the tournament, and then now as a manager. And I just got this sneaky feeling that when he went up to Saka after Saka missed and he put his arm around him and went and whispered in his ear, I wonder if he said, "Don't worry, I'll make sure that you get a good Pizza Hut commercial deal out of this." Because I remember that. That Pizza Hut commercial that Gareth Southgate, Chris Waddle, and Pierce done, I hated that. And I hated the fact that they were like kind of making money and having a laugh on the back of that failure. Do you know what I mean? I lost a little bit of respect that they were going to cash in on that particular subject. I don't think I would have done it unless the check was huge and you'd be like, ooh. And free pizza. Okay, I'm sold. Do you know what I mean? But if you want to see, if I can't remember what was the tournament where Chris Waddle missed his penalty. What year was that?
Was it Italia?
Italia 90, wasn't it?
That's it.
It's still in orbit.
His walk up, when he walks up to take that penalty, right? Watch that walk up. That looks like a man that's walking towards the gallows. You know what I mean? He looks like he's on, was it called it the Green Mile when I walk up to the electric chair? He could, as soon as he started walking, I can remember saying that this ain't no. You can see it. You can just see it. Do you know what I mean? That he would rather be anywhere else. But Bukayo Saka, you know, David Beckham bounced back, didn't he? You remember when he got vilified for getting his red card? Yeah. And they were hanging effigies of him in Manchester and burning it. And, you know, he was public enemy number one. He went on to become a captain, you know, and ended up getting us out of the brown and smelly a few times. And I think Saka is probably going to go the same way. He's already said, right, this isn't going to break me. This is going to probably make me stronger.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I think that he will bounce back. He's at an age where he's still got it all in front of him. He's only just becoming a star. I mean, I can't wait to see what else this kid is going to do.
Yeah.
A little bit more, you know, a little bit more training, maybe working on a few things in his game that he's going to be working on. We really do have a player on our hands. And, you know, I'm him and Emil Smith-Rowe, I'm quite fond of those two. And, of course, KT. You know, like that trio there.
Yeah,
I'm very fond
absolutely. Of them. And in a team where you can't have favorites, but we can have these three or four favorites, because we do know these are going to be the bedrock of our team for the next few years.
How many times have we had, you know, a younger player who's been through our academy, and then they flirted with the first team, and it just hasn't quite clicked for them? You know, Chuba Akpom. There's a name. Just pulled that one out of the bag. There's loads more around like that. Yeah. It's good to see that whatever is going on with like finding these young kids and seeding them and bringing them through, it's good to see it bear fruits.
Yeah. Gary, we're all of the age, Gary, where we would look upon Bukayo Saka as, you know, an adopted son. And we just all feel that way about him. I think all Arsenal fans feel that way about him. We want the best for him. He's a great kid, and you can see the way he carries himself, that he's got a great foundation behind him. His family have just kept him so grounded, and he's just so natural, and everybody loves him who comes into contact with him. He came into that England team, and, you know, they're going to be our dreaded enemies. People like Luke Shaw are going to be our enemies, but, you know, he's formed bonds within that England team and the players there.
Yeah, and, you know, the fans from other teams that thought, you know, we were bigging him up a little too much, right? Praising him a little bit too much, giving him accolades a little bit too much, you know, saying, you know what, it could be the next, you know, big thing for Arsenal, you know, and blown it out of proportion. And it's like, now they know. Now they know. You know, it doesn't, and he'll go up against anybody, right? The biggest defenders try to bring him down. No.
Yeah.
No, he's just a determined player, and that's what you want to see, a strong player, and that's what we want, right? We want players like that. You know, it doesn't matter how big, small, fast, slow they are, but they want to have it, the heart. They gotta have a strong heart and want to play, and he does that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think he's still got a ways to go, right? He's not a finished product, right? I mean, he's got some things he needs to work out. You know, because if you listen to some of the fans, it's like, you know, he was terrible, and it's like, you know what, you're gonna have to take some of the highs and lows right now. But I don't want him to be perfect right now. He's still got time, right? If Arsenal is going to get better, it's not going to be today. It's not going to be this season or next probably. But 2 seasons from now, hopefully the team's better structured around him. And you know what? And he's growing, and he's better than he was today. Only good things are going to happen for him. So so I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping Arsenal can hold on to him, right?
Yeah.
I think most of us, I guess most of the fans are concerned if he does basically see what's going on around him, and as our fans come to realization that the team just isn't, they're not ready. They don't want to go out there and try and win trophies, right? They don't have any ambitions, and he is, if he just continues doing what he's doing, it's going to be scary for other teams, and hopefully it's scary for other teams and not for Arsenal, because we're going to look back and go, damn, what if, right?
Yeah.
What if we were able to hold on to this player? So I think it's going to be nice, and like you guys said, if ESR can stay healthy, Kieran Tierney can stay healthy, those are 3 core players for us right now. If they're on the field, we're going to see good things. We're going to have good things going. So, I think you had asked a question about whether or not Southgate should stay or not. Like they said, I don't think that's going to happen because of the time period, but I think he's basically, his job is under review as far as I'm concerned. I don't know, if he were to go out early in the World Cup, I think that would basically be telling. Wow. Right,
you're gonna walk through the qualification because that's just the way they're structured right now. The standard.
Yeah. But England has a really strong team, and they shouldn't. I don't think they should struggle. They shouldn't. I don't think they should take a dip in form. Hopefully, they should get better. Right. So
they need to uncover. For me, they need to uncover Sam, a couple of midfielders, but Saka. What can we say about Bukayo Saka that has not been said already, Sam? As Gary said, he's not the finished article yet. He needs to improve on his finishing. He will get goals because he's always on the end of great moves. But how can he improve next season? What do you maybe looking for him? And what signs you want to see him coming back and looking good for us mentally?
Yeah, I think he's got a very strong mental constitution. So I think he's, like everyone's been saying, he's going to bounce back from the whole penalty thing, and he's going to be a lot stronger from it. I think what he showed for the England team now in the Euros, he has this X factor with the way he plays. He's got this unknown way. He moves into channels, and he has these runs that no one else really does, and it's just like, and he was fearless as well. He came on in the Euros. Basically, his debut has been in. His full, proper first team debut has been in the Euros, and he's just, he was one of the better players in the group stages, wasn't he? So, it's a fantastic foundation to build on, and I just hope. You got to remember that with England, he's playing with a lot of good players around him as well, right? So, we need to build on that with the Arsenal. Like I've been saying recently, we need to build around Saka and Smith Rowe. These are the 2 players we need to be building around our team around. We need to be able to feed these guys the ball and let them create our attack. And Saka, I hope he can take what he's been doing in the Euros on into the next season. I think he's still developing. I think we're still going to see more from him within the next 2 to 3 seasons. We're probably going to see him reach his peak in maybe 2 or 3 seasons. And he's going to be a fantastic player for us. Touch wood, he stays injury free and all of that. I'm really excited about him. He's a very, very, very exciting player for us, like same with Smith Rowe. And I just hope the only thing for me, Saka is missing a bit for us from an Arsenal perspective is the end product. I think he needs to just improve a bit there. He needs to score more on the chances he gets. Finish the ball a bit more, score on more goals, get more goals. Basically, I think he definitely has that in him, and he needs to add that to his arsenal. But he's going to be a fantastic player. He's going to create so much for us now going forwards, and we need to. And like I say, we need to build around him. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Stan, the future looks bright with Saka. Any final thoughts on Saka and the Euros?
I'm so glad that nobody was listening to that large section of our fan base that were, clamoring for him to be our left back, even though he can play there, because he does do so much more now, right? And we probably wouldn't have had Kieran Tierney if that was the case. But it's funny, right? Because what is Bukayo Saka's actual best position? I've seen him play on the left.
He's so
I've seen
good.
him play on the right. I've seen him play, in the where Emil Smith Rowe has played. And he's looked capable in every single one of the positions, and also covering at left back. So He's like one of them. He's like one of them players you got in your career mode, right? And midfielders that can play Cam, LW, and RW, and sometimes they have the ST for striker, and you're like, I'm fucking laughing with this guy. I don't know where he's going to end up playing, to nail it down. I've always thought that he looks like the kind of player that could play as a 10. There's something about him when I watch him play, and maybe it's his physique a little bit, that reminds me a little bit of a Clarence Seedorf, who played in the middle of the park as well. There's something about him that kind of reminds me of, I think it's his thighs. I don't look at men's thighs a lot, but there's something about look at my thigh book. He's got the same thighs as Clarence. It's not like that. But there's something about him that is a similar sort of a physique. It's going to be interesting to see where he finally will end up playing. But there's going to be a time. There's going to be a time where I could see him probably leaving us for a lot of money.
No, don't say that.
Because he's an academy product, right? Unless we find ourselves, do you know what I mean? There's only two types of players, that will sort of like commit themselves to the club for life. You've got your Messis on the one side of it, right? But he's at a club like Barcelona, guaranteed Champions League. He's getting his Ballon d'Ors and all of that sort of stuff. But on the other end of the scale, you've got your Matt Letizier's. Again, equally a very good player, but he's quite happy to be that big fish in a smaller pond. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with players like Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka, who I imagine are Gooners. They've come through the system. There must be an allegiance there, but it's very rare for even Harry Kane wants to leave his club, right? Because he's at a time now where he's not winning anything, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm sure that if Arsenal gets itself back into contention, then we can keep these players, right? We can be saying to other teams, no, we want to continue to add to what we've got. If we don't head in the right direction, we'll end up selling these players for about 80 million, 90 million at some point, something like that with the way that the market goes. And that's a good money for someone that you've not paid nothing for. But then we're always going to be in this kind of a situation now, right? We want to keep players and add. So, it's all down to Mikel Arteta. And just on a closing note about Bukayo Saka, I mean, just a smile on his face when he's riding that unicorn. The fucking Cheshire cow on him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's so like, sometimes we say to ourselves, do you ever get to see like the real person? When they come out for their fucking interviews, pre-match and post-match, they all some of them use the similar sound bites. Do you know what I mean? Harry Kane comes out with the same shit every fucking time, mate. Do you know what I mean? But I can actually understand it. But you look at a picture like that with Bukayo Saka, and you almost feel like you're getting a little bit more of a peek behind the veil of the guy's character. And that smile on that fucking unicorn for me says it all. You know what I mean? I like the lad.
Well, one of the abiding memories from the tournament, of course, and we're so glad Christian Eriksen is doing well as well. Yes, Tony, that was a very fast first hour. We're gonna phase out of the Euro 2020. Not before you have your say. I know you're going to want to hear. We're going to want to hear what you have to say about Bukayo Saka in closing. Tony, take it away.
To me, the sky's the limit on the lad. He's got years behind him more than he does.
Old head on young shoulders, Tony.
As I asked last week, to kind of Stan's point, what's be his starting position in 3 years? I mean,
you know what? We don't know, but we're going to have fun watching him these next couple of years, 2-3 years. And as we've all said, Tony, we need the club to build around these kids now, Yeah,
they need to build around them. Hopefully the manager gives more faith to the young players. He didn't give really any faith to them last season, except for Saka. Hopefully he spreads it around. Smith-Rowe and some of the academy players get to see them more instead of placing blame on the young players like you did for the preseason loss.
Gary, Sam, any final words on Euro 2020 and the tournament that was?
I was just going to say that, they always talk about, certain people can, they can wear pink and, they make it look good. Only certain people can ride a unicorn like Saka and make it look good. You know what I mean?
Rainbow Ray.
Ray, has your
Right.
debate cover came in yet?
Hey, listen. Any which way I can be, associated with Bukayo Saka, I'll take it. Call me Rainbow Ray, and Unicorn Saka.
Yeah.
It all works.
And and that's the confidence that he has, right? He can get on a rainbow unicorn, and you're not laughing at him, not at all. You're just like you're happy, It's a big difference, and so yeah, he wears it well. Whatever he's doing, he does it well.
And I guarantee that the sales of those fucking rubber unicorn things are through the fucking roof. Because I know Ryan's bought one.
I know Ryan's bought one. Yeah.
Fucking same old Arsenal Gilmer Saints bought one. So.
Is that a rubber ducky or is it full size? Is he going to have it in the bathtub with him? I don't know.
Because you saw that they had like multiple of them and nobody else got on them. So I can only assume they just weren't Saka enough to get on a rainbow unicorn.
There's probably a warehouse in Eastern Europe somewhere that had these fucking things.
They were in production the same day.
No one can fucking shift them. And all of a sudden, now they're getting all these orders in and they're like fucking flying out of the warehouse. Eventually.
Colin China.
That's right, Saka should be on a commission.
All he has to do is sign like 5 of them and ship them all around the world. They're gone.
Listen, I was going to transition to number 7 and number 10, but I'll put a pin in that for right now. And to answer this question, Gary, I'll start with you. What do you think of the Saliba situation? In 30 seconds.
Arsenal, it's Arteta, it's Arsenal. They're wasting the talent, or they're wasting the talent, or they're wasting their money. One of the two.
Money.
They're wasting the talent and they're wasting their money. So they don't do one or the other. If they don't want to play him, they got to sell him, and he's got to be sold for a decent amount of money. He does have the talent. Wherever he's gone, he's done well. So I don't understand why it would be difficult to sell him if you don't want to play him, right? I mean, there's one comment there about, I guess it's Omar Rekik, yeah, that he's coming. But I just assume he's coming. You still can play Saliba with him, as far as I'm concerned, right? Because is Holding really? Do you really want to hold on to Holding? If you've got Saliba, you've got Marie, you've got Gabriel. What? I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to keep good talent in the team. So it's Arsenal doing Arsenal things, wasting talent and wasting their money,
wasting resources, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, right now you have to start questioning the Saliba deal for me. I mean, 27 million was a roll deal, wasn't it? So you got to see he paid 72 million for Pepe, which is probably about 40 million more than he should, and you got to start questioning that 27 million. Was that another shoddy business arrangement? I'm starting to think that way, because I don't for one second believe that if listen, I might be going against the grain here. This is what I'm saying might be controversial, but I believe it. It's my opinion, and that is that I just don't think the coaching. I don't think Arteta and his coaching team would let Saliba go out on loan if he was good enough to start in the Premier League. I really don't. I just think he's not quite at. There's something there with him that they're not quite satisfied with. I think they still think he's not quite stable enough. He's maybe a bit too erratic still, maybe. And I think the evaluation has been done on him, and they've gone through all the games, all the videos with him at Nice, and they've done their due diligence. I'm sure they have, because that's their job. Yeah. And I'm sure that they've realised, listen, we can't start him. He's not going to be ahead of Marie and Gabriel at this time. And he's maybe too good to just be sitting on the bench, too much. So let's give him more for, good competitive level first team football, which he can get in France from Marseille. So I think they've just decided, he's not quite ready for the Premier League, and that's where he is. I think so many people are judging him on his reputation, because he had a huge reputation coming in with that 27 million price tag. And I think so many people have maybe only seen the highlight reel on YouTube and think that's it. You know, they don't realise that there's another 100 games there to look at. You know, and I just don't think if he was good enough to start in the Premier League, I don't think he would be sent out on loan, because it's just come on. I mean, there's not a hidden agenda there where they're saying, oh, sorry, we don't like Saliba, we're just going to send him out on loan. No, it's not that. It's the fact that it's just I think it's at that level where he's just not quite good enough yet, and that's why they haven't put in the buy option with Marseille, because I think the idea now is to give him that season now, which I think will be the make or break season for Saliba. And if he does a decent job at Marseille, if he improves and he looks good, then I think next season again, that's when we might finally see him in our first team squad, and he'll be given a chance, because he's gonna have the opportunity to come back. So we'll wait and see. But right now, that 27 million does look like a really dodgy deal for me.
Yeah, Stan. I mean, the club can make these decisions. They know, they have all the information at hand. Us fans, we're going on what we know, what we see, what our gut's telling us. And we'll get into guts a little bit later when we talk about William. But,
it's odd to pay £27 million for a player and send them out on loan 2 seasons, a double role. And then we're now into our 3rd season of a 5-year contract where we've not seen him kick a ball for us in anger. So have we had our pants pulled down? I mean, if you've had our pants pulled down on the fee and he's not worth 27 million and he was only really worth, I'll just pull a figure out of the air, 15 million, he should still be able to be in and around the squad, right? Do you know what I'm getting at? Whether it's the younger 23s or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Like Rekic was 2.5 million, I think, something like that.
Exactly. So there's more to this than I think that we know. Is it something down? Does the player kind of feel a little bit snubbed by Arsenal? Because I found it quite strange that he's gone back to France on loan, whereas there were clubs in the Premier League, Newcastle being one of them, that were interested in taking him, but it seems like he called the shots. Now I want to go there on loan.
Yeah, right? Even Crystal Palace would have been perfect for him.
Another one. Rather than the club saying, we're looking after your trajectory here, you've been on loan now, twice in France. We're now sending you out on loan again in the league that this club plays in. And you're going to go to somewhere and you're going to play, every week or every other week. Surely if you're going to send him out on loan for a 3rd season, that would seem more logical, but he's just gone back to France again. So if we're saying that he's not up to it, or he should be playing in a better league than France, why do we keep sending him back there? Something doesn't click.
Yeah.
And as I say, and Sam's probably right. This was under, I think, Don Raul's watch. And we all know that he left under a huge cloud. We don't know why, but we do know that he left just as the guy came in who basically done an audit of all of the stuff that we've been doing financially. And all of a sudden, I was like,
Mulder.
I've got things are happening. I've just got and he was off. He went to lunch, never came back. Do you know what I mean? When I was going to lunch, he never came back for that was it. Yeah. So there's something's gone on. But however, even if we've overpaid for him, like we overpaid for Pepe still we didn't send Pepe out on loan, did we? We persevered. So it's very odd that is he that shit? Is he terrible? Is he really worse than what we have? Is he terrible, worse than Mavropanos or Rob Holding? That we're going to go out now and spend 50 large on Ben White. So if you add that together, that's 77 million on 2 defenders. If you think about it, that doesn't make sense when we're supposed to be financially struggling, which is what we keep being told, right? That we're walking around everywhere, cap in hand, trying to do deals for fucking £5 and a bag of Monster Munch a week, and any way that we can get deals done on HP, but I don't get it. So this Lieber thing, it confuses me because the reports that you hear where he is playing and where he has been playing, the reports I keep hearing are that he's bossing it.
Good, yeah. And
Is he
what?
bossing it in a farmers league? I mean, Koscielny came from a lower division in France and cut the mustard. Oliver Giroud cut the mustard. You know, he didn't come from a big team in France, so I don't understand it at all.
Yeah. Tony,
Last point. My only idea on this is, and I've said it before, is the only thing I can think of is we've just re-extended Rob Holding's contract. Is the thinking that Rob Holding, they want him for another season, they want Saliba to go out on loan for another season, and then he's going to come back into the fold, and then Rob Holding will be sold, and we will manage to get a little bit of value because we extended the contract. So, you know, we can maybe get a bet. That's the only thing I can think of where this.
yeah, there's no certainty there. We don't know. Nobody knows. Tony, what's happening there with Saliba, Tony? You got all the answers?
I think it was a Don Raul fuck up. Cheated us out of 27 million. You got Upamecano, you got Konate. Both went for 40 million, 35 million. Both proven players, both playing for under 19, under 21 French. Saliba's playing nothing. He's sitting there sending off videos of fellow teammates masturbating. To me, the whole thing stems back to us not letting him play in the League Cup. I think there's just a power struggle between that. And to me, I just don't think he ever plays a competitive minute for us. But if he does come back next season, guess what? He's a homegrown player, and we can get rid of Holding, like Stan said. But to me, it's just a whole bizarro world. The whole thing doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
If he's so good, why not send him to Germany, to like Leipzig, like we said, Smith Rowe there? They just lost 2 center backs. They could use somebody if he's that quality, or he could use some expertise going over there and playing. But to keep playing in France makes no sense at all.
So there you have it, the assembled. You know, none of us really know. We can only speculate. We're going to see what happens. It will be 3 years since we will have signed a player, and he may play for us at some point in the future, Gary. Listen, you want to say more about
whenever I hear Arsenal extending a player to hold on to their value, the one thing I always say is that Arsenal devalues their players. So extending it to me never works because they're devaluing them anyways, right? Like who is going to go out there and make up the money we just gave to Holding? What team right now? What is he going to do in this year that's going to mean that whatever money we've signed on to him, we're going to get it back?
What's his salary? That's the key, right? We sometimes
it's Arsenal though. Whatever the salary is, it's always. No, think about it. It doesn't matter what the salary is. It could be £5.
I think it's 40,000.
If it's £5, the other team is going to be like, all right, I got about 1.25 pence. That's a start because nobody ever is.
I think he went from 25,000 to 40,000.
Yeah,
we're terrible. We're terrible at selling. We're terrible at buying. It's just we look enviously around the leagues, and other teams are doing it, Sam, and we're not doing the same thing. Well, listen, I wanted to move on here. We talked about Bukayo Saka. You got the legendary number 7. And I, for one, if this is true, if Emile Smith-Rowe got the number 10, I am 100% behind that. I want the team to affirm these kids who have been carrying us, give them the numbers that are legendary to the club, the numbers they would value more than I would argue, would value more than a high-priced player coming in from another team. So I'm quite happy Emile Smith-Rowe is possibly, allegedly, reportedly going to get the number 10.
I think it's going to be the number 8.
Okay. So you think
as well?
You think it's fake? There's pictures going around of Emile Smith-Rowe holding the number 10 shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I don't care what the number is. He needs to sign on the dotted line for me. I don't care what number he gets because he's worth more on the team than he is worth with a number 10 shirt or a 7 shirt or 8 shirt or whatever number shirt he's going to get. So I haven't heard that he's signed yet. It sounds like he has already in most people's eyes, but that's most important right now is that there's certain players that we need to re-sign, and I always thought that like Tierney and Emil Smith-Rowe, those deals should have been done before they went on vacation. Before they left
Should have been
Coney,
done before
right?
the
I mean,
season
the season was over and they signed the paper and then they left. That's how I expected it because I mean, those are easy deals to close, and the value of those deals aren't going to kill Arsenal right now, right?
No.
The way that they've structured it and the players want to stay, that's what you want. So yeah, whatever number he wants, because he can play. He just like Saka, you give him a number, but guess what? If you really need to, you might have to move him around anyway. So
yeah, but look, Saka values the number 7. I mean, these are legendary numbers.
Yeah.
Perez, Rocastle.
Reason why I don't value it as much because then everybody will tell me that having a captain's band is devalued as well. So for me, it's not the same football that everybody's used to and talks about all the time because the things that we expect just aren't there now. So the game has changed. So I'm okay with the changes. So I'm not going to put too much stock in the number of the jersey, right? If that's what they want, you give it. If Saka wants a number, you give him the number, right? If Milsreville wants a number, you give it to him. Tierney wants a number, you give it to him.
Yeah.
Other players, you got to think about it. I'll get back to you, kind of thing. So
yeah, the core of our team. Sam, what do you think? Emil Smith-Rowe, number 10.
I think he deserves it. I think it's great, like you say, to reward a fantastic talent like that by showing him. Giving him the number 10 shirt shows him that we're putting our faith in him. We want him to stay, right, and become an icon for our club, which potentially he can, right? I mean, he's that level potential that he could potentially become an icon for us. He could become a Bergkamp, right? Following those footsteps.
Yeah.
And not William Gallas, by the way, but yes, Dennis Bergkamp. So. How the hell Gallas got that 10 shirt, I don't fucking know. But anyway, following in Dennis Bergkamp's footsteps, definitely. And I think it's a fantastic gesture. I think it'll be a fantastic motivational factor for him having that number 10 shirt. I'm sure he was very, very, very young. He probably doesn't even remember seeing Bergkamp. He was too young, but I'm sure he's seen the video footage. I'm sure he knows how iconic that number is for us. So yeah, I think it's a great reward for a fantastic talent, and hopefully it's a shirt he can grow in and have on him for a long time to come. I really hope he can be a player. And like Stan said so correctly, we need to show these guys some ambition, right? I mean, Saka and ESR, they are that level where they're eventually, maybe not in 2 or 3 seasons, but maybe a bit longer than that. But they're going to get to a stage where they say, listen, I actually want to win something. I want some winners' medals, because big players, it means something to them. You get to that stage in your career where, okay, it's great having club loyalty and all that. You've been at the club since you were a kid and everything. Sure, fantastic. But at the end of the day, you think about your career. If you're an ambitious player and you want to win things, you want winners' medals. That's what you're going to start looking at. And so we might have to be in that situation, like Stan said, where we might have to sell these guys on and for 80, 90, or 100 million, depending on what the market is and what their level is. But I just hope that doesn't happen. I hope we can build around them. And we actually start winning some things, right? Winning some trophies in the next 2 or 3 seasons, and or at least getting close, being competitive. I'm sure they would be happy with being competitive, getting close. So if we can do that, then we'll hopefully keep hold of them. But overall, the number 10, fantastic. I'm really pleased about it.
Mm-hmm. And I know, Sam, you're going to stick around for 6 or 7 more minutes. Just break in whenever you have to say goodbye.
Okay, cheers.
Stan, I'm really happy about giving the number 10 to Emil Smith-Rowe. I mean, it shows the club's commitment to youth as well.
I love squad numbers. It's a little thing of mine. You know, my FIFA career team, when I play FIFA, everyone, you know, my main team is 1 to 11. You know, a lot of the players that play for, you know, Nicola Pepe in my team plays as number 7. For me, it's all about your formation and where they play. That's your number. So if you indulge me just for a few minutes, for example, I love to play with a 4-4-2 wide diamond, right? So 4 at the back, the DM, 1 DM, you know, 2 wingers, a central midfielder, and 2 forwards. So in that formation, for me, obviously, your number 1 is a goalkeeper. Your right back is a number 2. Your left back is a number 3. And then you've got your 2 centre backs. Your left centre back is a 5. Your right centre back is a 6. So I know in some countries the 6 could be the 4. In certain places in the world, the centre back can be a 4, but in the UK it's generally a 6. My deep midfielder, your Patrick Vieira, obviously he's a 4, and the right wing is a 7, left wing is 11. Your attacking sort of midfielder guy is an 8, and then the 2 forwards you've got a 9 and a 10.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously in a formation that we play, we only play with 1 striker, who in my world would be a 9. I suppose then that player that's going to be sat in that formation where Emil Smith-Rowe is going to play, that should be his shirt number. I always hoped that Martin Odegaard would be our 10. As our 10, and I would like to see Emil Smith-Rowe get an 8. And I'd like Martinelli to get the 11. The number 11 shirt, you know, because you can use that on the left-hand side, but it doesn't look out of place going through the middle either. It's just a quirk of mine. I love squad numbers and how that all works, but pleased that he's getting the number 10. It shows investment. I just hope that the curse of our number 10 since Dennis Bergkamp has been lifted. I mean, you've only got to look at the Gallat situation. Oh, I hated that so badly. A defender, central defender playing out a number 10 just totally rewired
Messed with your head. It just messed with your head.
Every time I saw it, I was just like discombobulated. And, you know, the other one was Jack Wilshere. It just didn't really work out, did it?
No.
With Jack Wilshere at all, you know, he spent more time out than in. So pleased for ESR. And I also think as well that I think the only reason why Aston Villa have been coming back with their bids, the only thing I can think of is whatever Arsenal are offering him, Aston Villa are offering him more and saying they're not giving you what you're worth. Because what else could it be? Do you know what I'm getting at? And obviously the agent is going to be speaking to both parties. So it's very easy for the agent to say, this is what's being put on the table here. So I really hope that if that is the case, and obviously I don't know, we're just spitballing, but if they are kind of trying to lowball the kid and it's causing other clubs to sort of like try and swoop in, stop all that. Just pay him what he's worth to keep hold of him, please. Put him on the same contract as Saka. They've come through together. They've come through at the same time. They're both in the first squad now around the same time. Just give them a comparable deal so that they're both happy, right?
They're both happy, and they're not jealous of each other. Oh, you're getting a bigger contract than me, etc., etc. Tony, Emil Smith-Rowe, number 10.
I don't think he'll get it as many central attacking midfielders that we're looking at.
Well, so you already said 8, right? You've got him at number 8.
I already said 8. I think he's more of an 8. I don't think he's really an out and out.
You have seen the picture of a 10 on his shirt, right?
I haven't seen a picture. I've seen him with his 10 fingers out.
Yeah, it's out there. It's out there. Go look for it. It's out there. But listen, we'll see what happens.
You cut me off, Ray.
I'll start off with you, Tony. Easter Road, 2-1 defeat. We signed a pub player named William. Did you see his gut?
Bride of Arteta?
Or somebody said that William is the 6th Teletubby, the 6th son of Arteta.
Yeah, he's definitely out of shape. I've seen him from 3 or 4 multiple angles. He still looks fat and out of shape. I seen the video that I sent you guys in the group chat earlier showing 3 sumo wrestlers racing. It said Kolesniak, William, and Lacazette. Even though Lacazette looked fit, it's still a funny video.
Gary, it's not the look you want. The preseason reporting back for duty. You put this tight yellow jersey on. It's you should have went a couple of sizes extra at least.
No more medium for him.
Yeah, that wasn't a good look. It definitely wasn't a good look. And I mean, I know. Supposedly, this isn't. Players are coming back and they're supposed to be getting back into some kind of cardio. Get their cardio up and stuff like that. But if you're at the age that he's at, you have to come back a little bit better. To me, right? You can't be putting on weight, right? Because you're not the same young pup like you used to be, right? This isn't like somebody who's going to burn it off like that, right? As soon as they start running up and down, he's gonna die, right? He's at that point in his career where he can't. No, not a good look. And to me, it just showed. What?
He needs to get on a Peloton like Gary does.
Yeah, Peloton. I'll be on it tomorrow morning. Come on. Join me, William.
Yeah, open invitation. My brother-in-law texted me. He said he's been on the feijoada, which is a Brazilian dish. He's been eating too much of the feijoada.
Yeah.
He went home to his mom, and she looked after him a little bit too much.
Yeah. I might be all wrong here, but I don't think that's it. That's the way you want some of your senior players, the ones that are, they want to. The way Arteta has played him, he would think he wants to use him, and also he wants to go. What? No wonder MLS team said, you know what? You want to get paid double for just because you're two times you're the man you were before. It doesn't mean you get twice the salary of players here. That's kind of what I saw there. So I to me, it's a bad look because I think he needed to be in better shape coming in, regardless of whatever people say. I believe a lot of these players, they don't want to come in basically off the street, right? They need to come in with a little bit of something, a little bit of work done before they come in, a little bit of exercise put in. So I kind of feel like it's a bad sign.
I think I'll give the last word. Sam's going to bow out probably on this topic here. It's like you're back in Dublin. You're out on the beers, 5 or 6, 15 pints in you. And you go get yourself something to eat 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's too many kebab shops, isn't it? So there's doner kebabs. Or was it
and then you go play on the Sunday. You go play on the Sunday morning.
I think you swallowed one whole.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day that there seems to be a thing with Brazilian players when they get into their 30s and they're sort of a bit they got good money and they're sort of they got to that stage where they probably don't really care much anymore. They seem to just go completely off the ball, don't they? I mean, it's happened so many times with so many Brazilian players.
Over the past 20 years, it's
you're not comparing them to some of those guys, though.
No, I mean some of them were amazing players, but the thing was, all of a sudden they got to a point where they just they didn't care anymore. They just went off a cliff, just completely disappeared. Yeah. And this is the thing I'm worrying about now with Willie. Not exactly he was ever any good for us. I mean, he was decent for Chelsea, wasn't he? But for us, he's been very, very poor. But this doesn't look good. I mean, him being overweight and it's just, how can we even play him? This is the thing that really pisses me off with the whole setup for the Hibernian game. Why are we playing Willian and Kolasinac and these guys who are they're not even a part of our future?
No.
Just don't play them. We're wasting time.
Kolasinac, Cedric.
Just waste of space on the pitch and waste of time.
Wilson.
Just play the youngsters. Play the youngsters, play the under 23s or even the younger players in those spots instead, and because they're the future. No one is gonna hold it against Arteta in a preseason game for using youth, right? When we have so many players still out who are unavailable, so that I just don't get it. I really don't. And but in terms of William, he looks terrible. He looks overweight. He looks out of shape. And if he
terrible.
If he's like that at the start of the season and I see him even on the bench, I'm going to fucking lose it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous.
And you'll see it right here at Arsenal fans.
Yeah, because again, it must be that Arteta favourite thing again. I mean, there's no other reason for it, right? I mean, there's no other reason for it. It must be his love child or something in the belly there or something. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, yeah.
As Alonso said, Sam, it's their final curtain call, and I think it's your final curtain call, Sam.
Exactly, and with all these horny seagulls outside here, I'm just going to bow out gracefully now and say thank you very much.
And you're
for
going
another good discussion.
Thanks. I'm glad you're able to come on, Sam.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's always good fun, lads. So we're into the funny season now, aren't we? Pre-season now, see what's happening, and we've got Rangers on Saturday. Let's see if we can roll around in that game, eh? And yeah.
He's gonna pull up lame. You know he's gonna pull up lame.
God. Jesus.
He's gonna come in with a knee brace on,
yeah.
And like he's gonna fall over when they make a run at him.
Harry Clark, where the hell did he come from? No one's mentioned him for like 3 years. All of a sudden, he started a pre-season game. Oh, anyway, yeah. Listen, guys, thanks a lot for having me. It's been great fun as always.
I will say one thing, Sam.
Yeah.
When we face Chelsea and Tottenham in early August, it will not be this team.
Of course. Listen, like Stan said, I agree. We're not going to judge on this team until the transfer window's closed because, like Stan rightfully says, so many deals will probably be done the last few days. And yeah, I know Tony he doesn't have a clue about how transfer works, unfortunately. But the thing is, it's not FIFA. You just don't click on the X button and it's done. I mean, it's things take time. These agents are involved, the players, what they want is involved. Like Stan said, you got the other club might actually have to wait to sell a player or buy a player. A replacement, to until the deal can be done. There's so many factors involved, and each transfer is a unique piece of business with its own timeline, its own challenges, and so we probably, knowing Arsenal, we probably won't have all the players in place until right at the end of the transfer window, right on the last day. Probably we'll be doing some business, knowing us. So I'm not going to judge these players in this squad until we're there, until we're the 1st of September. And as I said in the chat in our WhatsApp group, and I've said it on some pods recently, I said, but then from the 1st of September, then that is when we got to take this really seriously with Arteta. Now we've got to see if his plan, which I'm hoping he has now with this, what's going on now with what's going to happen. I hope his plan will then come into fruition. We start seeing some positives and seeing some improvements. Because for me, September, that's it when it starts. Not wait until Christmas. No, I want to see it from September. I want to see our first 5 games where we're actually looking like we're improving and looking better than we did at the end of last season. And if we're not, if we go through September and we go into October and it's the same crap as the end of last season, sorry, get rid of him. It's just not happening. Get rid of him. That's it for me.
I think I'll let you go there, Sam.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
Thanks.
Cheers. Have a good evening, guys. Thanks a lot for having me, and speak to you guys soon. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, lads. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, Stan. I think most Arsenal fans are in agreement now. I mean, some want him sacked now.
Hold on. I want to talk about Fat Bastard.
Of course.
I want to go back to that, man. I mean,
Mascardo.
I saw the picture today, right? I didn't see the friendly. I saw the picture today, and I was like, fucking hell, what? That's how you came back to work. I mean, this ain't like the fucking 70s and shit where players would go off and eat a load of burgers and smoke fags and that, and then they would come back and like fucking under their tracksuits, they would fucking sellotape bin bags to them. So they'd be training, right, and sweating it all out for what they did. This is different. There's... they're giving diets and stuff like that. They're hooked up to everything. Everything's watched. And for a player, we're fucking paying 220 bags a week to. And don't make the mistake when they try and say it's about 100 grand. He got a 10 million signing on fee, right?
Having a laugh.
He's on 220 bags a week. And this is a player. It's not like he was our best player last season. He can turn a blind eye to it. He was under the cosh. Wasn't he? everybody was like saying, "What is going on here?" I mean, the fact that we gave this guy, 3 seasons, and he comes back like looking like he's fucking eating a fucking caravan. I mean, it's. I mean, he's not doing himself any favors, is he? He's not endearing himself to anyone. I mean, that's the biggest "I don't give a fuck" that I've seen in ages. It's just like, yeah, well,
Yeah.
And if that was me, if I was the manager, especially one that's probably, if you remember that, the reports were that Mikel Arteta was the one that really went out of his way to get Willian in. So he's put his head on the block a little bit. Maybe some people were saying to him, "You sure? You sure?" And he went out. Do you know what I mean? And put his head on the block and said, "No." And you'd be thinking to yourself, "Is this how you pay me back, you fucking bastard? You look at you. I put my fucking head on the block for you. You were absolutely stinking out the house last season, and now you come back."
One goal.
Do you know what I mean? Now you come back looking like one of the fucking Teletubbies. This is like, you're not doing yourself any favours. You know what I would have done? I would have said to you, "You know what? You train on your own, mate. You train on your own away from the rest of us until you get yourself back into an acceptable shape." There's no way that I would have taken him to Scotland.
Yeah.
And anyway, Scotland's the last place you want to take Willian. Looking at that belly, he's probably out tonight after every game eating fucking Mars bars cooked in fucking batter. That's what they eat up there, right? Mars bars fried in batter. Last place Willian should be. In fucking up there in fucking Edinburgh, kebabs and all that shit. Do you know what I mean? But I would have been like, I would have really, no, mate, you train on your own. Ooh, we lost our leader. You train on your own, and you don't come back until you look. Yeah, exactly. You don't come back until you look acceptable, because that's not acceptable. I don't, But you were asking me about Arteta. I'm with you, Ray, and I'm still holding out. Remember, I said I was gonna, from the very first day, I said that October.
We give him 10 games.
Well, originally I said Christmas this year when he first got appointed. Christmas this year, and I've actually brought it forward to October. I revised it and said October.
The end of October is 10 games, Stan.
Yeah. So that's 10 games after he's been able to sign the players that he wants, move out the players that he wants, build the team in his shape. If I get to October and I'm still unclear of how Arsenal are trying to play football, some of his decisions and stuff like that, then I will be, hardcore. I'm done with this guy. And I think from the time he got signed, he came in as manager to October, I think he had enough windows, pre-seasons, and enough time to try and stamp his own, identity on how Arsenal wants to be. I think that's a fair enough time.
Yeah. Tony, what's your thoughts on? Did you get to speak about Willian? What do you think about Willian? People in the chats, coming back out of shape like that, I think it shows a clear disrespect to the club and the manager.
William's joining us in now.
Teletubbies, there he is. And, it's just like you're a pub team, and Arsenal are showing us that they're like a pub team. Aubameyang comes with that hairstyle at the end of last season, is late to the biggest game in the calendar. You look at the North London Derby for us at home. It's the biggest game in our season, and you're late. Tony's
those are the players he's always praising and building up. And after the match, he blamed the young players, even though they started with 9 senior players. He said we lost it because of kids. You started with 9 senior players. You can't blame the kids.
Gary, like I said earlier in the podcast, this team that he put out at Hibernian, we lost 2-1. Listen, there's circumstances. Their second goal was offside, clearly. We hit the post. Partey's getting closer. We had a penalty saved, Pepe. So, the game could have went differently. Nobody's losing them. I'm not losing my stuff over this result. Tony went a little bit off base a little bit, didn't you, Tony?
I didn't go off base. I just tired of Arteta. Tired of his bullshit.
Let's try and keep things in context, Gary. We have 3 tours. We have the Scottish tour, we have the US tour, and we come back to London. And things better look a lot differently in early August than they do right now.
Yeah, I mean, we can say that it's preseason. We don't expect to see much, but I think it to me it doesn't to me it shouldn't matter. Uh, the team. It shouldn't matter where you are and who you're playing. I think we didn't play as well as he wanted us to. I believe
Bless you.
Arteta even said that he may have picked on the young players, but I don't. But I believe as a whole the team they should have done better. I know they had some calls that didn't go their way, but I think as a whole you put Aubameyang up there, you expect to see certain things, right? The team looked totally better. The team looked much better in the second half with Lacazette. So I don't know, if that's telling.
Mm-hmm. It's
Before
a
I forget,
trend we're seeing.
before I forget, like Stan said something that kind of like the light bulb went on. Basically, it's loyalty that Arteta shows loyalty to players, and they don't show it back. Right? Uh, both for me, Willian and Leno. He put a lot of he was loyal to them in the way that he handled the situations with them. In
Yep.
terms of Leno,
Yep.
he said, "You know what? You're my number one goalkeeper."
Mm-hmm.
And now, less than a year, it's talk about moving on. Willian, he wanted 3 years. Chelsea was going to give him 2. Arteta said, "No, I'm going to give you 3." And he comes in, and you need better leadership from him, and he didn't do it, right? So I just, maybe
Right.
now that I'm thinking about it, maybe William just got paid. He got paid in Scotland, and he put it underneath. He put the money underneath and in front of his stomach, like the robber.
That's his cash. That's his cash.
He didn't
He's
have
like
any-
laughing. He's laughing at all of us because he's like, "This is payday. You guys think it's a big belly?" He's like, "Nah, man. I
Yeah,
just got paid."
yeah. William doesn't get his money transferred into his bank account each month. He gets it paid in like £10 notes.
They push a big stack of bills at him, and he just stucks it in his stomach. He's like, "Yeah, I gotta keep it close to my keep it close to my vest kind of
I
thing."
gotta go out on the field. I can't get to my locker just yet.
Yeah,
My agent just dumped all this money on me.
yeah, no, but I think that this game showed a lot to me, and I actually enjoyed watching the young players play more than the senior players.
There wasn't many of them.
Yeah, but I enjoyed.
Right.
I think Okonkwo is going to be good. I
Yeah.
think he had a couple of blips, but in reality,
No.
I think he'll be good for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I mean, in the second half, I did like Hutchinson and Henry. Is it Henry? What's his full back?
Henry Clark?
Henry Francis. Those two players actually, for me, looked really good.
Yeah,
I know it's it's a preseason match, but they actually look good. They look poised. For playing a game like this, especially with a team that was basically just beating us up the whole game. I mean, there's one time I think Hutchinson got steamrolled, right? Drew a foul and all of that. So, and Henry Francis, he looks like he should be getting ready to go back to school. High school. I don't know what it's called over there, but he looked so
Primary.
young. But he
Secondary school, right?
yeah, secondary school, yeah. So he looked so young out there, but I think those two players played really well.
Maybe it's
I mean, I
different.
know it's they're maybe not ready yet, but it's definitely promising that they got a chance to play and they actually look good playing out there.
The Assemble said here, winning is a great habit to have. Arsenal don't practice winning; they practice shooting when it's quite easy to score.
Well, I think about it. That is telling, right? You try to win everything you can. Go out there. I mean, if they went out there and tried to win and they still lost, I'll take it. But it didn't look like it to me. So,
Stan, what did you see? What did you see in our preseason game?
I've only seen a couple of bits.
Me too.
What I can say is that, especially being the first game, it doesn't bother me one iota that we lost that, because for me, that all this is, especially at this stage in your preseason, it's just a glorified training session. That's all it is.
Can you believe the backlash, Stan?
It's no different if it was the two sides were made up of Arsenal players and one side had bibs and one side didn't. I'm getting at. It is a training game. However, The one thing that does concern me is, even though it might just be a glorified training session, it worries me that I don't understand why we were playing in a 4-4-2. You would think that you would be still using a shape that you're going to be looking at working with going through the season. And even if you don't have all of your first team players available, then that would say to me, well, don't you play the same shape at the lower levels? You know what I mean? Yeah, you play for the under 18s, you're playing in the same shape. You get bumped up to the under 23s.
Arsenal doesn't do things the right way.
You know what I mean? You know you're playing in that shape. You know that you play here. You know that those players.
He does a Wheel of Fortune to pick out the formation every match.
You roll up to the senior squad. You're playing in the same shape. So people saying, "Oh well, they played in a 4-4-2 because they didn't have a lot of players available." Well, there's no youngsters that play in the same shape. You know? Do you know what I'm getting at? And if we do play in different shapes further down, I think that's a fucking big mistake.
Yeah,
you should be adopting the squad team, what they're doing, all the way down. I just think that I'm not a fucking coach or anything like that, but to me, it just seems like this is like a logical thing, right?
You look at clubs in the Netherlands, the Ajax. They play the same system.
They do
from the kids right up to the senior team,
exactly,
all the way, and they learn how to.
And from what I can gather as well, Aubameyang, for all accounts, looked like he'd never played in a 2 before and didn't have a clue why this other guy was running around in the fucking penalty area with him, and who the fuck's this guy? You know, apparently Mikel Arteta was constantly shouting at him and doing, you know, the Danny. You know, he was doing it with Aubameyang. You know what? Remember, right? Aubameyang's not a fucking young player or a player that's come over from another country on loan and might not know. This guy's done it. He's been at Arsenal for some time, and he's in his fucking 30s. And Mikel Arteta is fucking giving him the old micromanagement. Of, you know, I think it'll piss me off. Say a few things, and then at half time, come up to me and say, listen, do you know what I mean? Blah, 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 whatever. But that micromanaging would fucking jar me to bits. I'd be like, come on, man. You know, it would make me very anxious and aware. Do you know what I mean? So it worries me that we were just playing in a 4-4-2. Where's the thought there moving forward? I don't get that. If we're going to be playing 4-4-2 moving forward, then fine.
No, we're not.
I like 4-4-2. Yeah. I like 2 strikers and 2 wingers, but apparently that's old hat, you know. Other than my fucking career mode on FIFA, no one else is doing it. So, you know, that's my thoughts on the friendly. I'm looking forward to the Rangers one.
Yeah,
it's going to be quite early here, but again, you know, I can just see it now. Tavares plays, makes a mistake. Everyone's saying like, this guy's fucking shit. Well, you know, it's only cost us 7-8 million. It's back up to Kieran Tierney. You know, just let's give people a chance. And you know, and I've seen so many pre-seasons where we've had these pre-seasons and we've gone out and like players have scored fucking 4 goals and here and that, and everyone thinks we're going to win the league on the back of the pre-season, and then we go to that first game of the season and we lose. So take it for what it is. Do you know what I mean? Just take it for what it is.
Yeah, Tony, the backlash on social media, not that should be a barometer of anything, but, you know, you go on social media after that result and everybody's losing their stuff over a 2-1 defeat.
It was a pretty bad performance in that first half. Second half, we looked...
Yeah, but is it about performance on the first game of preseason? It's more about getting minutes into the legs, right?
It should be about getting your fitness up, but still, Aubameyang looked uninterested. William looked fat as a cow. Just the whole team looked horrible in the first half. Then in the second half, you have Pepe came on, looks really sharp.
A little bit more
cohesive. Really sharp.
So, yeah, Lacazette came on and played a lot better with the outside players.
And Lacazette looked really good. He looked really fit. There's one point where he's dragging 3 defenders, driving forward, still got the ball off.
I mean, they were showing videos of Aubameyang, you know, working out in Greece. So now all of a sudden he's playing in this match, and we're saying, you know what, he's still trying to get a little his feet wet and his get getting some cardio and all that stuff in there. And I'm like, you know what? He seemed like he was doing some preseason training coming in. So, you know,
But-
I believe he wants to do better than he did last season, right? So
Yeah, but the warning signs are there, Tony. Aubameyang's performance looked a lot like last season, right?
Yeah, I think he's pretty much done for. I didn't like the deal to start with. Anyway, I didn't like paying a 31-year-old striker $300,000 a week plus his 50,000 goal bonus. Just way too much money. He's on 200,000. Shouldn't have been bumped up more than 225,000. Shouldn't have been given the captain's ban for signing a contract. Hopefully, Tierney's signing the contract. Hopefully, he does give a captain's ban.
So
I'm okay with that one.
You're not a fan then, Tony?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
He's not a fan of other people spending their money unwisely.
I want to be in charge. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the point Stan made on the micromanaging. Hopefully the crowds drown that out. I think that's going to be the best hope for the team.
Yeah.
Best hope for Arteta is just
You know
getting
what?
him out of the picture and not micromanaging, letting the
It
players
might be,
go out there free-flowing football.
Tony, it might be the best thing for Arteta as well to understand you can have a halftime discussion with your players and you can fix things there. Or before the first half starts, you can prepare your team to be ready. We've seen this time and time again with Arsenal. They've not gone out. They've started slowly. If Arteta's not able to do this during the game, he's not able to get his instructions across, it might actually help Arteta as well, Tony.
Yeah, the players just don't seem to know what he wants. They start off slow, tepid. We play slow, tepid football. I mean, we've been really boring, really slow, defense-minded football. I don't care if we've let in less goals. Just the football's not fun to watch, not attractive to watch. I can't see fans being in the stands, being excited watching the way we play.
I think if we start winning games consistently and we stop dropping bad points, I mean, I'll take results right now over playing well.
Can I just say what Tony says worries me, right? Because if the players at this point do not fucking know what Mikel Arteta wants them to do or what they're supposed to be doing, I'm sorry, but that for me is he's not been here for 5 minutes, right? He's been here for long enough now. And if the players, like an Aubameyang, for example, does not know what he's supposed to be doing, there seems to be a huge disconnect. That's just, that's frightening. If that's what's going on, it's absolutely frightening. If that's any credence in that. And, Tony saw the match. I didn't. If there was that similar body language stuff going on, and, is this that the player doesn't know what the manager wants, or is it that the player just don't give a shit? Which is it? Is it like I'm just moving the back?
Yeah.
I don't want to do what I'm supposed to be doing, or is it like I don't fucking know what I'm supposed to be doing? Players must know by now
what he wants,
what the players for their roles, what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, when your neighbour is over there, you need to be. They must have an idea, of what the manager wants from them. It's fucking frightening if they don't buy that.
Yeah, but he's always changing the fucking formation. How many formations is he to go through?
Stan, a good team, you should know telepathically where your partner is, where your player is. You form triangles. If you're playing short passing game, you play in triangles, and you should know where 2 or 3 players are around you.
But he never has the same players in the lineup.
Do you get a sense that there's a ruthlessness there that the club talked about this summer? We haven't seen it yet, have we? Ruthlessness doesn't mean Willian in the shape that he is. Like, you see him, you're the manager, you're like, nah, sorry, you don't even get to.
The other one as well.
Get to change into the strip tonight because you're overwhelmed.
Mikel Arteta said a lot of things last season, didn't he? Especially near the beginning. I remember being on podcast and that, and me and you, Ray, were like, we fucking loved what we were hearing. Like, getting on the boat, shaking the fucking tree, all of the fucking sound bites that he was coming out with. But it's worrying that one of the other things was he said was about when we are approaching players to come to Arsenal, they have to want to come to Arsenal.
Yeah.
And it sounds to me that fucking Hossein Mawar, when we was looking at him in the last transfer window, was giving us the runaround. He didn't seem like he wanted to be. He didn't seem that he was like, yeah, Arsenal.
Mhm.
And then now again with Locatelli, it's kind of like, well, I really set my heart on Juventus. That's really want to go, but I'll take Arsenal if that doesn't. And as much as I like a Locatelli, kind of a player, I don't know if that's the kind of, why hasn't the plan been sold to Locatelli? We're going to be like,
he's waiting for Juve. He's waiting for Juve.
yeah, but so then we should be looking elsewhere. We should be looking at someone who's in this position where they're going, I really want to go to Arsenal, but if it doesn't work out there, okay, I'll go to club that, and I'll go there. What's happening with Locatelli, the way that we are in his mind and his fucking preference, that's how it should be with the players that we're looking at. Do you know what I'm getting at?
You see, Stan, our stock has degraded so much.
It has.
We've dropped down so much. We're not.
And a lot of people say that we've got a lot of pull. Oh, we're Arsenal. We've got a lot of pull. And I'm sorry, but I honestly believe that whatever pull that we used to have and the stature, it has diminished now. Mm-hmm. And I think it has diminished because when was the last time that we were in the Champions League?
5 years.
We've been in a fucking Europa League for what now? And we can't get our way out of it. So much so that we didn't even qualify for that this year. You can't tell me that our stock, as in, I don't mean like as in fans and supporters around the world. I don't mean that people are going to stop turning up at the stadium and stop buying merchandising. But, when we're looking at players now, and if you think that a manager, you think, okay, I'm looking for a player for this position. Ideally, I want to get player A. If I can't get him because of funds or whatever, then it's player B, then maybe player C. We're at that stage where, we may have that list, but plan A and player B are no longer certs that they're going to go, oh, Arsenal, yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah.
They've got bigger fish to fry now, and we are going to be looking at the C's and the D's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm getting at? That's what I kind of feel.
Yeah. And we're going to be relying on Gary. We're going to be relying on Tierney, Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka, Pepe, Martinelli, and maybe Lacazette to pull us out of this mire that we're in.
Gabriel Megalegs.
Yeah, Gabriel. Yeah. That's where we are, Gary. That's where our stock has degraded down to. We're basically mid-table team.
Yeah, I mean, when we should, when Lacazette was talking after that match, and he told us what was going on in the locker room, we should believe him because we're seeing it, and we keep seeing it, and we keep thinking we're not seeing it, but we're seeing it over and over again. We're expecting change, and we had no change, right? Arteta still has to scream at his players to getting in position. These are professionals. They've been playing the sport, all their life. Now all of a sudden they can't get in the right positions throughout the entire game. You're right. You say it one time and then you're done, right?
When you're nervous about something, that's when you sort of fuss, and that's what Arteta's doing.
Arteta has no confidence in himself. That's why he continues.
Gary, I'm just waiting for one player to turn around in the middle of a game and look at Arteta and say,
did I do that?
Say my fucking name again. I dare you. Say my name one fucking time. I dare you.
What's my name? You see it in Sunday League all the time. They're like,
No, because I don't. He doesn't. Like I said, he doesn't trust himself. He doesn't trust his players enough that they're going to actually go out there and do what he said. Yeah. And that's not a good place to be, right? Because I feel like he's got certain players that are going to do what he needs to, and other players like he's screaming for Danny. You know what? Maybe Danny shouldn't be playing if you have to keep calling his name, right? Right. At some point, he's not listening. If you say it once, he doesn't listen. All right, you know what? It's halftime. You're off.
Only once.
Because you see that all the time, right? We even seen his mentor Pep pull players at halftime because you know what, they just weren't doing what I wanted to do, and it's okay. You made a mistake. You thought the player was ready to play. He wasn't. he's not doing what you need, and he can't, you just pull him. You know what? It's okay to make a mistake in picking a player, but not to just keep playing them even and they're not listening to you. You know, it's at some point you got to change. So I'm hoping for change. We want to see change in the way that Arteta does his business this season. Until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. Right? So we'll see. We'll see
what happens.
You know, and
like I always say,
and once again he's bringing in new players. So there's going to be the excuse that it's going to take time for them to figure out how to play football again because they were playing football in Belgium and Brazil or wherever they were playing.
Ben White, remember, Gary, be fair to Mikel Arteta, right? Ben White has got to travel to Arsenal all the way from Brighton.
From Brighton. Yeah.
And, you know, he's bound to get nosebleeds because of the fucking altitude difference. You know, London's a bit flashy. He's going to take time to settle. You know, there's bright lights in London. Bright lights, you know. So you know.
Yeah.
As Tony rightly points out here, the Assemble, and thanks to Assemble for being with us all night here. You need to have a job at the CIA because you are redacting all of your messages here. I don't know how you're doing it, but it's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. No, like I said, so I'm hoping for change. I'm not expecting it. I'll be pleasantly surprised if it happens. These players are getting better, I think. And in spite of the way that Arteta's coaching them up, all right, I think they just needed to get on the field. That's it, right? You put a Millsworth Rowe on the field, he's going to improve every time.
You
put Saka on the field, he's going to improve every time he gets out there and plays. You know, Tierney is coming in, I believe, a solid player. You know, so
you know what's interesting, everyone. We all start on this road with Arteta, and as Stan said. We lap up what he says in those initial press conferences. He's talking the talk. Then we start to see he's not walking the walk. And gradually we differ. Tony's the first one to go, then maybe Gary, and then maybe Stan. But eventually there's going to come a point where we're all going to start to agree. And that could be toward the end of October.
I'm surprised.
We're
I
always
think back. What were we actually doing when we lost 10 straight matches? I don't like. I mean, it seems so long ago, but is that like it was therapy Mondays, right? Every Monday it was like time for therapy, you know. And I
think we had one draw in there. Don't forget we had a draw.
We had a draw in there. Okay. Yeah. So
So.
Yeah, he needs to change, and he needs to change, and I hope we see it.
Listen,
like I said, I think they need to do their business and understand that the business goes back and forth in terms of you got to wait for certain things to happen, but they got to move faster because for Arteta's sake, not because that's the way the business works. It's just that he's not. I don't feel like he's a coach that's going to bring these players in before they head out to the USA and then have them come back and then have them ready to play. You know, he needs more time with them. You said that he said he wanted more time. So then here's the thing. Here we go. So you need more time with your players, right, to get them ready for the season. So what we'll do, we'll travel to Scotland for a week, and then we'll travel to the US for a week, right?
Fight things up.
I don't see how that benefits the team when you're trying to figure out how how to do your job.
You know what else?
He has not had a full preseason as a manager, right? And now this one he's going to be traveling, he's traveling around. To me it doesn't make any sense in the sense that he's not a seasoned manager who knows what he wants yet. And it can take, once he gets the players that he needs, he's going to be able to act.
And there's a commercial aspect to that as well. Obviously, there's a lot of money tied up probably in going to that international tournament.
Yeah, but not more than winning enough games to finish in the top six.
Sure.
There is nothing, no money they're getting from going to USA. I believe.
Do you remember?
It's going to be better than finishing top six.
I mean, the money men will. It is the way of the world, Gary. Money talks.
I see those as priorities. I think for the team. If we're going to talk, like that's the problem, right? We feel like finishing top six is a good thing,
This is why we're in all or nothing as well. This is why it's going to be all or nothing this season. Extra 10 million as well.
William looking pregnant on the first episode.
Okay, and then on top of that, now he has to go in there for pre-production meetings with the Netflix or whoever it is,
Amazon,
talk about what they're going to do on the video this week, and then somebody has to sit there and look at these videos and figure out how much of the crap that Arsenal actually does do they actually want to show to us, right?
Yeah.
So this is all happening when we're trying to get Arsenal back. Hopefully, it is one of those Cinderella stories where you look back at it and you're like laughing because you're like, wow, it worked.
Hopefully.
Hopefully,
in a few years we are stronger, we're better. Saka is a world beater. He's doing what Kevin De Bruyne is doing right now. Stan, we're gonna wind up.
No, I just realised Alonso's fucking here. All right, mate.
He just sneaks in, man. He just
in the back door there.
Arsenal's becoming a comedy show, says the Assemble. Stan, it's gonna take some patience, some discipline for us to wait.
Oh, what's all that noise? Alonso, man. You're eating your crisp again in that, ain't you?
You don't know how this show works, do you, Stan? You've been away for too long.
I know. I'm just waiting for the fucking Pepsi product placement to happen as well.
See, you can't say it out loud. It just happens, man. It just happens.
It's organic, Stan. Yeah, we need some discipline to wait till the end of the window, but it's very difficult. And I put my neck on the line saying we would do the majority of our business by tomorrow, like 16th of July. So I need one more sign-in at least for tomorrow. So we can have 3 in the door, maybe. And that would be the majority, I would feel.
3 signings. We don't have anybody who's like taking a medical right now.
We got 2. We got 2 in, basically.
Yeah.
Stan? Have they already started filming for this?
I think it was a week or 2 out from whenever they announced it that they would start. So maybe when they go
next week.
Maybe when they go to the USA.
So it's like Star Wars. It's the Empire Strikes Back. The Rebel Alliance at their lowest ebb. They've just been defeated.
Yeah. We're going to start fucking calling London Coney fucking Echo Base. You know what I mean?
So all we're is going to start off at the ground level and end with us winning a trophy at the end of the season.
I get it if you're up there, and you're bringing in your filming company, but I just don't understand. This is not the right time for this. Where we are as a club. I mean, and I've watched quite a lot of the American football versions of this show. I quite enjoy them. I really like docu stuff, so I really got into it. And I'm a big fan of is his name Bruce Arians?
Yeah, Bruce Arians.
Because he was the coach on the first one that I watched for about the American football team. I can't remember who. Cardinals.
And now really, playing, right?
Really enjoy it, but I don't know, man. I don't think this is the right time for Arsenal to be engaging in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big distraction. Show me one team, right, that on that American football all or nothing, whatever it's called, that won whatever it was they were going to win at the end of their season. None of them.
All right, no, Stan.
It ended with them lifting the fucking Super Bowl.
So they had one with the Eagles, right? And it was the year after they won. So basically, it was about the Eagles and how basically it was a disappointment, right? Because they didn't get to the Super Bowl again. So basically, it was the year after they won, which is still a good story, but still, it was compelling to say the least.
I was going to be the new norm as well, Alonso.
Maybe these teams didn't get to. Maybe they didn't get to fulfill their potential because they had a fucking film crew constantly running around and that with them, right? And you always feel like you're on. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to watch it, but it's going to be, we're going to see what Arsenal wants us to see. We're going to get the narrative that the Kroenkes, want us to see. Although saying that, the Tottenham one, there were some things on the Tottenham one when I was just like, fucking hell, really? I mean, he really dug out. I mean, Mourinho really fucking dug out Dele Alli, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Harry Kane.
He dug him out, and a couple of others and stuff like that. So, but then again, you know, Jose Mourinho is a maverick. Do you know what I mean? You can't give him the script and say, right, just say that. He just says what he wants to say. Whereas Mikel Arteta is very much a company man. You know what I'm saying?
He'll be totally scripted from Arteta.
He'll be sat in his bed every night with his wife sat next to him, practicing the lines that Netflix have given him for the next episode, and his wife's going to be doing the other parts.
Oh,
He'll be coming into work the next morning, trying to remember all of his lines, because that's what he's like.
And as they say in The Simpsons, it's funny because it's true. You know? Yeah. But, Tony, what have you got to say? And then I'll get to Alonso. Alonso, we're getting to the end of the show, so you'll be recapping a lot of stuff in your final thoughts. Tony?
To me, it's still just Arteta was speaking bullshit. That's why I wasn't anything about the performance of the team. It's what he had to say after. Every time I see his lips moving, it's just bullshit to me. Saying that Willock says stay, then the next day it comes out that Newcastle's they'll buy him. Blaming all the young players when we didn't start with any young players except for 2. Preseason should be your academy players out there playing.
Yeah.
But instead you get
it should be about giving opportunities.
Instead you get Willian out there starting in perfect shape.
I believe Balogun came on, you know, so congratulations. Balogun's going to get number 26. Neil Smith-Rowe, number 10. So, you know, hopefully the team will filter Willian out of the side so he sits on the bench for the next game, you know, and maybe
give him a happy meal.
I don't even think Willian could fit inside Gunnosaurus's outfit. And that's quite
he looked like Grimace.
Thing. It's quite baggy.
He looked like Grimace from McDonald's.
You know what? I'm gonna have to double up on my my alcohol supplies because I can't. The more we talk about it, the more this season just doesn't look like it's gonna go.
Yeah, listen,
any
okay.
kind of a good way.
That second half looked good though.
I think we're gonna have to do something like in Emery's first season. We might struggle against Chelsea and City, but we're gonna have to win.
I don't think so because they have to prepare
we can't
for
afford
Europe.
to do that. We can't afford if you're thinking it already, and guess what? Arteta is thinking it as well. So he's basically written off the first 3 games of the season with that kind of mentality.
They're playing 2 games a week. We're playing 1.
Let me get to Alonso. Alonso, I don't know if you've seen any of the show. We'll recap a lot of stuff for you. Basically, we covered the Euros 2020 final. Saka, how we feel about that kid. We all feel fatherly towards him, brotherly towards him. All of that stuff with Saka, generational talent, and we think he's going to come back and be better. He's going to rebound from this.
Yeah, you know, I think that whenever I saw it with my friends, and we were also part in England, and when Saka came on, right, it was a flash of something, right? It was like something that he could possibly make an influence and change the game, and he did actually, in my opinion. When he got tackled when you get horse collar tackles by Cicchini, I thought that should have been a red card, maybe yellow. But the guy is so dynamic, you know, when he hits the pitch, and he's so quick, right? And the guys love him on England. And when he took that penalty shot right at the end of the game, and he missed, and my heart sank for him. My heart sank, and it was quite.
Feed me.
Sorry, there was this segment. This 5-second break was brought to you by Funyuns.
Funyuns. Let's have a year's supply of those. Pepsi and Funyuns.
Our sponsor. Funyuns.
Dr. Pepper.
A case of Funyuns for everyone.
Yeah. So
okay. Thanks, guys.
It's all good, Alonso. You came in on the end of it, but it's really good to have you here.
So it was really sad how it unfolded, right? Because you wanted to root for soccer, and no matter what club you supported, you love the kid, right? And him being consulted by Phillips and by Shaw really shows the character he has, and how the England side was really like a brotherhood, and it was emotional for me because I was with my friends who are English, and just the excitement is like almost like the saying, like the victory, the agony, defeat, right? And it was just so close that it was shocking because typical England, they're gonna fail in the semifinals, the quarterfinals, and boom, that's it, right? But to lose like that, and to see Sancho and Marcus Rashford and Saka, the abuse they got was kind of not right? And there's a bigger problem with that, and it's saddening to me how a young kid, and they're kids, so is Rashford, and to go what they went through like that was pretty bad and pretty saddening as well, and pretty maddening as also. But they did so well, and the way that they as a soccer community came towards all three of them, especially Saka, was pretty amazing as far as being there for him, being there for them, and it's really special to see.
And you know what? I saw the footage of the overhead on the penalty kick that Saka took. You see the Italians flowing towards Donnarumma, and just felt so bad for Saka. He had to stand there. I wanted the ground probably to swallow him up, but huge props to Phillips, who was the first player to be there to have his back, and I think that's huge. I think to be accepted in a team as a young player, and to be, in some ways you got to face adversity before you can, be the best around on the team, and I think Saka will be that player. But listen, we'll be going for a little bit over 2 hours. We're going to get final comments on everybody. Gary, you want to start off? Final comments. Tony, first I'll go to Tony because he did have his hand up a few minutes ago. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody keeps mentioning the horse collar tackle there, but Smith Rowe did handball the ball before. That would be clear and obvious error, but
Smith
yellow or red really wouldn't be a clear and obvious error.
You're talking about the Euro 2012?
Yeah, he handballed it right before he got horse tackled.
Oh, Saka did, not Smith Rowe.
Okay, it doesn't matter. If he had punched him, it wouldn't have mattered. It's still a red card. So, I know what you're saying, but it's still to me, violent conduct. I mean, and if you pull back on the video, it could have been a scoring opportunity for England. So
Darren, yes, I agree with you. We do want Emile Smith Rowe to have number 10. There is a picture of him taking a picture with a Scottish fan with a 10 on his jersey. Anyway, I'm going to go around the horn here, as they would say. Final thoughts, and we'll round this thing up. Gary?
Yeah, so it's we got Rangers on the weekend. So hopefully, I guess we're not supposed to expect anything out of it, even though I'm expecting something out of it, right? Huh?
You want Tierney to play that game for old rivalry's sake?
Yeah, he should play in that game. He came back early, right?
I bet he's knocking down the door to Arteta saying, "I want to
play in that game." I don't know. Maybe I don't know how much, right? But he should play that game. He came back early. He's shown some ambition, which is what we want from our players. So let him come back and play. I mean, we're going to have Lokonga. We'll probably have Tavares will play, right? Lokonga, I don't know. He was practicing. I don't know if he'll play, but it'd be nice to see him play.
Wait. Hold on. Sorry, Gary. We signed him? Is he signed?
Yeah, all but.
He was practicing today.
Lokonga.
Yeah, is that what there's pictures of him practicing, or was that Tavares? And now I get confused. That was Tavares practicing. Sorry.
He's isolated right now, but he's all but done.
Yeah.
He'll be going to the U.S. Alonso. He'll be going to the U.S. Gary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's. I'm expecting to see something. I don't think they're just playing it just to run around, or else if they were, then they could just go to a track and run. So I expect to see something called football be played, and I expect to see something out of it. I mean, a lot of there were players that actually looked like they were out there actually playing football. So I expect to see see some more of that. Hope to see something promising that I can build on. Right. I understand that they may not have the cardio that they need, but I believe we should be able to see something that they can build on it. I say it all the time, right? Let's give me a little bit each game. By the time the season's over, you're going to be running. You're going to be perfectly set up. So that's what we want to see. As Ray mentioned, he's expecting. We had a little bet there that they're going to sign another player by tomorrow. I don't see it.
Hopefully, I mean, I said majority of our business will be done. That would be 3 of them, So
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
I don't see it because if Lakonga hasn't even finished, then it's still not signed yet.
Well, he's
right?
isolating. I mean,
Yeah, but
shirts are coming out tomorrow.
It's not done. It's not done. I'm sorry. You might think it's done, but it's not done. So we'll see about that. So,
final words, Stan.
My final word's going to be
You
about.
cut me out. You didn't let me finish my thought. What's
Go on.
It's like I don't want to hear you anymore because I'm going to lose my bet. All right.
Gary's final monologue, not his final.
Yeah,
word.
monologue. We're not hitting 3 hours, Gary. Finish your thought.
I'm good.
Go on.
I'm not going to talk anymore because you told me I have to talk. I can't talk.
Uh-oh.
Grab you some coconut water.
I don't have any today.
What'd you do with your coconut milk since you didn't like it?
You know what I did? You know what I actually did? I mixed it with some mango nectar. It's like mango lassi.
Nice.
So it's actually pretty good.
Stan, what's your final thoughts, Stan?
These fucking Funyuns are raw, mate. They are really. But that's another story.
Hold up the bag, Stan.
The Funyuns is a whole
You're
story.
the brand.
Right?
Hold
the
up
whole
the bag.
story onto its own. But my final word, I think it's going to be with Bukayo Saka because you've got to think that just coming up to the the Euros and that, it really looked like that he wasn't even going to get selected. That he was just on that periphery, probably wouldn't have even made the cut. If he hadn't made the cut, I don't think they probably would have been like, but then we would have gone on, right? And he's managed to fucking work his way into the squad, and to come out with a man of the match award, I think is in a competitive England game for that age that he is, tells you a lot about him. And for him to be used a lot more ahead of a player like Jadon Sancho, who's supposed to be like the glitzy player, right? He plays over in Germany and he's going to go to Man United for 80 million. And you know what I mean? The manager is seeing these guys close up and he's obviously liking what he sees from Saka. So you're going to watch a player that I think is going to have a similar importance and trajectory with the team. And I'm not comparing in what they do, kind of Beckham-y, Rooney-ish, coming into the team at a young age. And I think a little bit luckily getting into the team because I don't believe that he was on the list, one of Gareth Southgate's first names, but so much so that come the World Cup, when Gareth Southgate is making his selection, Saka is right up there now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
He's gone right up in the pecking order when he's looking at building a squad, and it's going to be, as long as he can keep himself fit, because obviously if you're injured for a long time, you're out of the picture. But if he can keep himself fit and keep doing what he's been doing at Arsenal and getting better, you're going to see him at the World Cup. And he's going to be a regular England international. So that's only just starting for him. The stars for Bukayo Saka, they seem to be aligning. And I just think that there's only good things ahead for him.
The world is at his feet. Darren, appreciate you. Can I throw this in? I missed it initially, so thanks for reminding me. Slight ad. I appreciate the 5 of you doing this podcast. Each of you bring great points to discussion, even stands commercial on the onion rings. But no, thanks to all 5 of you. So it's really appreciated when you hear that stuff, that we all bring something. Tony.
And you could have just taken those Funyuns, start munching on them, and then that would have been your monologue.
That would have been it. Tony, we're going to have a few questions here, but Tony, your final thoughts, and then what league position would you be happy with from Arsenal at this moment in time, Tony?
4th. It's always Champions League or bust with me.
Yeah. Tony's got some high standards. Tybe, thanks for joining us. Arteta out. We shall see what happens. So it could, like I said, Tybe, it could come to a point 10 games into the season where all Arsenal fans feel the same by the end of October. We all go on a journey and we all end at the same destination, and some of us get off the train at earlier than others.
Some of us passed out drunk on the train and just went for the ride.
Yeah. Your final thoughts, Tony?
To me, I just want to start seeing my young players this weekend. I'm tired of seeing the same old. Didn't like seeing Kolesniak, Bellerin, players that already should be gone, players that want to be gone. I just hope the fans drown out Arteta once the season starts. And hopefully the micromanaging stops. The team figures out what the hell he wants, because I don't think they know what the hell he wants. Aubameyang looks totally uninterested. But from the second half, it looked bright. Smith Rowe looked sharp. Pepe looked brilliant. Lacazette looked fit, looked strong. Like I said, he dragged 3 players along with him at a pretty good pace. I just want to see us get in some players that will have the same attitudes. Mm-hmm. The main thing I want to see is Tierney get the captain's band. He signed a new contract. Aubameyang got the captain's band for doing it, so it's only fair Tierney gets it.
If we lose the first 3 games, Arteta out. Alonso, your final thoughts are pretty much your first thoughts.
Yeah, so this
Pepsi.
Put that product placement in there. Have you got a Pepsi?
I do not.
All right. What's your final thoughts?
Whataburger fries. So
there you go.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so I have friends, right, that support Rangers, and I'll be up early watching them play. However, I want to see one player do well, right, and that's Aubameyang. I think that he needs to get some work done. I think this season, it's important for him to do so. He needs to get up to a good start, and I hope that he does well because he's a captain from now on. He's a captain right now.
Yeah.
Right, so it's important that he gets off to a good start, even if that's playing him more in preseason. And I'm excited for preseason. I'm excited for Arsenal, but I'm also excited and curious to know what Arteta's going to do. Right, this is his 3rd season now, and it's time to, put up or shut up. Right, and
yeah,
and so also I think that if these players like Kolasinac and Willian and Bellerin, even Xhaka, come back to Arsenal playing like crap all the time, then why keep them around? Yeah. And I think like what Gary said, that what's the point of trying to keep them when we can't even devalue our players? And like I mentioned in chat box earlier tonight, before I went on, like where's Kolasinac going to go? I mean, who will want Kolasinac? And who will want Willian? So.
We'll just buy out his contract.
Who's going to pick up these Deadwood players? Gary, you want to practice? Dam scored.
Yeah, he's not coming to Arsenal. So it's any players with any players.
But Odegaard might come.
Odegaard might
coming back.
Odegaard.
Possible.
I don't know. Arsenal's just all over the place. They're just going to try and pick up anybody they can. They don't really have a plan. I mean, why would all of a sudden now Martin's available, right?
Maybe
It's
because
something.
Madrid
we always talk
find
about
that they don't have a use for him, but maybe he's available.
But
right?
they did have a use for him when they said, you know what, they did have a use for him before because he said, they actually said, you know what, he's staying.
Yeah.
So
Then they
something
looked at their
changed,
books and
and
said they
you know
were
what, it's
broke.
not something positive for Arsenal. That's for sure.
The other thing as well is we have to be very discerning about all of these news stories. A lot of them are fake. Some of them have the truth in there, and a lot of them are in between both truth and fake. But listen, that was your show. We'll get out of here. We're about to land. We're going to take this thing safely
William says
down to Wembley.
goodbye. Bye, William.
Ready for our next flight on Sunday. Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Dan.
I think it's going to be payday again on Saturday, so
And
check out William's pouch.
Thanks. See if he's got some more moolah in there, in that pouch. He's robbing a bank. He's robbing a bank, and he's dropped all that cash to his ribs. Our back line.
Maybe it's like a kangaroo, and they're going to see like a little Willie Ant pop out on his couch. I don't know.
I didn't want to see that. I didn't want
I was
that.
going to say total recall, right?
2 weeks.
The guys at the back were Sam, Tony, and Alonso. Thanks for joining, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Right,
Until then, don't lose your stuff. It was just a preseason game. Saka will be back to the player we know and love, and let's continue supporting him. And the only way is up with preseason, right? Until Sunday, we'll see you.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.